it has to be something foreign. For this to be, it's a bit unprecedented for them to use this for Anthropic. So the lashing out, I guess, against them continues. Part of the reason, I mean, we also saw OpenAI pick up that contract, and Microsoft was strong this morning, relatively strong this morning because of it. I guess we're running into some resistance on Microsoft at $400. But yeah, big story there, not that great for Anthropic. But I think it was Adara pointing out, or at least somebody pointed out this morning, there was a large swath of downloads over the weekend with Anthropic. Yeah, #1 in the Apple Store, which you can read that two ways, just any news is good news, but also that there's some that are saying, hey, now if I want to be rebellious and pick the side against the administration, now I want to be on the Anthropic side. I suppose that could be part of it, but either way, I think it's good for Microsoft's strength, the OpenAI contract, because that's huge for them. OpenAI, that is.
All right, it's 11:01. Great show, man. Make sure you guys join the Academy. We're a minute over. It's like a running joke over here. Now we only owe Joe 98 minutes, so it's still long. He said we owe you an hour and a half.
He was making up some crazy numbers last week.
So now we got an hour and a half. So the other way around, 88 minutes or so now. Market could pull back. We are waiting for Trump right now at 11 o'clock. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us. We're back at 2 p.m. We'll talk about the chicken. We'll see how that goes. Oil on rally mode. We'll see if that can continue as well. Gold and silver doing dances as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Back over to the midday show. See you until noon-ish.
Another thing's good, Joey.
Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the midday show. Back to your boy Joey Options. I'm Cherif. Where are the people
I want to say welcome to Neil too, though. Yeah, welcome to Neil to the team. Yeah.
What do you mean?
You got that ball.
Oh my God.
You get the beard, you know.
Yeah, well, Neil's been setting that up for a while. I think he needed the go-ahead from his daughter.
Did he?
I don't know if he's got it, though.
Yeah.
I think he's just getting her ready for it. Let's say hello to everybody, Joey. Future Eddie. Oh, boy. Bojo. We got Mike PD Ryder. Zachary Lewis. Did. What? Mr. Puka. All right. Ryan Hurt. We got Dark Skin. We got Manifest Codes now. Super. No. Yes. We got YV 7584. Who else? Outlaw Trader. Daniel. Green Day Deed. Benton. What's going on, brother? That was a hard game to watch. It's been 3 or 4 hard games to watch now with Arsenal, man. It is not pretty. Shout out to Oliver Glenn. Hey, what's going on, brother? We got Coffee Black 905. Tell me you're from the GTA without telling me you're from the GTA. Film Family's probably not even. Ray HQ. Shout out to Anurag, Pete, Zap, Pi, Mimi, Wasabi. Get it, Mimi? How are ya? We got Papacito. We got Berto C. All right. Grunfeld, who else, man? Chris Trader, Sahil, TT Mas. We got Antlo, we got Jaguar Not, Wyatt, missed, who else, man? Mike the Stock Impaler, Joe Schmo. And we got a whole bunch of others. I speak for Joey when I say thank you for joining us today, and good morning, my boy.
Absolutely, man. And then 3-year fan from London says Fancom TV. All right, guys, let's get right into things here and see what we got cooking up on today's session. Nothing really, to be honest with you. I thought that we would fill the gap to the top side here in the overall market. That seems to be the case. I'm short a little TQs, but nothing substantial in size. If it breaks the top, then we're at a dodge on this trade. But let's get right into our previous ones here on the intraday session. A couple attempts on silver. I'm like, hey, all right, let's go long here. We get stopped out, and then I'm like, all right, are we gonna get that curl over for the short? Because I just didn't get the vibe that we were going to be going long here today. And sure enough, I was just a little bit too early on the trigger, and then boom, we get that flush from 81 all the way down to 78.5. So you have silver down 7%.
Wow.
Yeah, not good. But we got a little bit back here on NFLX. I put more size on my second entry here. We're going to go over it. As soon as the TQQs break the top, we're out of that one because Google's starting to rip. I talk about this time and time again. We have to keep our eye on the mag, and they're not breaking down. It looks like they want to continue to climb higher, and with that being said, we're not going to be going against the overall market. Now, as for Netflix, it may not seem like much, but we got a little scalp here, stopped out on the long, and then we got this scalp. Unfortunate that we missed this monster run to the top side, but it is what it is. There's going to be plenty of opportunities. And you know what? Sometimes you just have that gut feeling. It's like, I don't know about today's session, and that's kind of been the narrative here for me. We're short the TQQs right now. That may not work, and I'm leaning towards it not working, considering we have Google right here, looking like it's forming this kind of bull flag, guys. Consecutive higher lows, and then you have all the buying pressure stepping in on that 10-minute and 5-minute time frame. So we'll keep an eye on Google. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. So other than that, this is what I have. We went over the majority of the names. The Nasdaq, the Qs, TQQs is going to be my vehicle. Netflix heading towards the key support level. I mentioned, guys, I just feel like this is just a massive weight lifted off of its shoulders, and now it's going to have a little bit of free room to run. We're almost at $100 on Netflix, and I forget the split price. I think it was around 115, 120 or something along those lines. Silver looking like it might find somewhat of a bottom here, and then Tesla as well as it's continuing to climb north of 402. So way to go, Katina, man. We're all out of the TQQs. It broke through that top. We're going against the grain, and with that being said, we have to be prepared to get out relatively quick. So those are the 4 names on my radar. We go 1 for 5, I think, to start this morning, but we're not down very much whatsoever, guys.
All right, guys. There's a very, very few in the world of small cap gappers that are going right now. One just popped up, but before we get to that, did you get to Willis Addison Silver thing?
I did not.
You did not. All right. Thank you very much. Willis Addison, I should say, $2 super chat says as follows. My SLV put exploding. Let's go. Get down. PVT. We hope we print up multiple storms, Willis. Keep killing it, brother, and great call out by you there to see through the noise and to take silver short. Grunfeld, look what I got on my screen, brother. We think alike. It just showed up on my scanner, having breached 85 pennies. It now becomes viewable on my scanner. STAK. This one wants to stack up some money into 94 and a third. That is the high. The breakout coming above 90 does seem like we are getting some resistance here from 87.5 into 90. 94.35, the high of the day. The pre-market high took us to about 69 pennies. I'm just giving you the levels because I haven't executed anything on it. 75 pennies or thereabouts is the volume weighted average price with the 10 EMA on the 5. A skosh above 80 pennies. So let's say 80.5 pennies. There it goes. Back into the high of the day. STAK stack, bro. So many different things I do with this name here, depending on whether I do well or poorly on it. We'll have to wait and see.
But STAK market too.
STAK market.
You like STAK market?
You like the STAK market?
Yeah, you like the STAK market?
You know who I notice a lot of our American friends from the Midwest, specifically Ohio, Michigan.
Yeah.
Why do they have that like pap and
man, we can go down the list.
We can go down the road there, bro.
I should have said stacked market. Stacked market. You know, stack market in the city.
Absolutely, but you can stay stacked market. You can stay stock market, like you're from Michigan,
or
right?
From New York.
Oh, no, well, I don't think they go like that, but who knows? Anyway, STAK, sorry, we digressed a little bit. Looking real good here into 96 pennies. This probably sees the dollar. Now, whether or not it can get above and hold above the dollar, we're going to have to wait and see, but this one is on my purview with 121 percentage points under its belt today. Here are some key details you may be interested in. The float, oh my days. 810,000 shares on a 96 penny name. I don't know, man, but this one could get parabolic. Let's find out from our friends at Perplexity what's going on with the float. I know you want to hit something there, Katina, man. Let's get it, baby. What's going on over there on that side? The Katina man is reloaded Tesla, and he's taking it long to the high side as Tesla gets into the high of the day. Great trade, Katina man, through 403.5. Let me just find out here what the short float is on STAK. Short float on STAK. Let's find out. Obviously, this could be older information, especially with the big move up today, having closed Friday at 42.5 pennies. It's saying, no, it's about 0.5% of the float or 1 to 2% of the shares outstanding. So it doesn't look like there's a larger short float on this. However you split this pie in any event, it has a small float, and that might be good enough here to get this one to go parabolic. The smaller the float, the more insane it can move. Yeah, not really a technical definition. As you can see, I'm looking at some others. TPET Was good until it wasn't. $1.03, 136 the high of the day. It's bleeding its own blood right now, trying to lose the volume weighted average price, having already lost the $1 area with VWAP just a little bit below that dollar area, 97.25 pennies. We're going to have to wait and see if this one can break trend. As you can see, it's suffering from many of the other, many of the same afflictions that other ones have been suffering from, which is an unbroken lower high. So we're going to wait until there's a decided break of that trend line, and then we may be looking at TPET as a long. But I should probably be looking short as well, in the same way that I know for a fact some people are looking short on TMDE. Look at the unbroken nature of the lower highs, and then you get a real parabolic move to lose the volume weighted average price, and then you continue that said downtrend. TMED was good until it wasn't, right? 4 a.m. price spike up with the pre-market high coming in at 5:10 a.m. And that pre-market high, boy, let me tell you, that had volume, 4.4 million shares, far exceeding any of the other volume bars here that we've had during regular trading hours. So you better believe there could be some bag holders here, as a lot of volume changed hands there very early in the trading day at 5:10 a.m. 4.4 million shares. In any event, this one looks like a short, possibly all the way down into the dollar. That would necessitate even more losses from where it already is. So keep your eye on that if you're short inclined or you don't mind shorting. ONDS, Neil was absolutely right to point this one out, but it's also kind of suffering here as well, having had the better move at 9:30, and then looks like the buy program turned off at 10:10. The shorts, they were quick to step in, my boy. 1242 high, and within seconds we were down into that volume weighted average price. We've been defending VWAP here, I want to say, since initially touching it at 1025, so almost 45 minutes of defense here, but it's not exactly showing you that it's ready to turn. So what's the point here of trying to get in a long, fight the shorts who are clearly in control, at least for the moment here, and then, having to deal with this below VWAP and then DCAing and then getting in trouble. Only up 16.5%, not looking the best, but will remain on the side chart until it loses it. Just like RCAT is losing it right now. RCAT is losing the volume weighted average price. It is on the way down into 14 with a 1535 high. There is some consolidation here, about 15 minutes worth at 14. I'd be looking for a possible holder. I'm not going to buy it at 14. It's below the volume weighted average price, and it doesn't work on my system. BATL breaking down, TURB breaking down. The one that isn't, okay, which is obviously STAK, we already talked about that, but VG, it doesn't look the best. This is not what I look for when I look for a small cap gapper chart at 11:15 a.m. It's certainly not. But the funny part is here that it's above the volume weighted average price. It has a very clear area, in my opinion, of technical resistance. That's 1175. Look at the pre-market high. Couldn't shake 1175. Regular trading hours open up. We can't shake 1175. We drop down to 1098, and here we are. Now it looks like we're having trouble with 12. 1191 high, and it's coming down into that 1175 previous area of resistance. Let's now watch to see if that 1175 acts as support. VG looks like a bit of a double bottom. I don't know. It doesn't look clean. I probably stay away from it unless I really had a good trade on it. And there goes STAK all the way down. It is halted down now. Where is this thing halted? It's halted at 77 pennies with a 96 high. Joey, look how long it took to get up into 96 from the 70s. And look how quickly we dropped from 96 into 77. This will rip your face off.
The window out.
And the funny thing is, yeah, it took the window out with all that vibration. But, I shouldn't probably say that with everything that's happening right now. But
I don't think that was that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
In any event, it's still above the volume weighted average price, having halted right a tiny bit above VWAP. So STAK in focus, but definitely not picking this thing up when it's halted down, Joe.
Yes, sir. All right, so we got a couple super chats here. If we want to start from the top with, it's Berto. Everyone is losing their hair here. If this is what trading does to you, then I think I might have to quit. Cherif, you're the only one left. And I mean, he's nowhere.
I think Brenda's got a full head of hair.
Yeah, Brendo's got a full head of hair. Obviously, Adara's got a full head of hair as well, too. So I highly doubt that's going anywhere. Yeah, exactly. Brendo doesn't, he's not. little slow down on that one there, Fabian. But yeah, he's running the show. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get Katina Man to shave it off as well too. But he's not about that. Sharif's got a lot of lifespan left on that salad he's got going on. So pretty good luck. All right, guys, we're right. Hey, man. There we go. We took another attempt here on the Nasdaq short. An additional liquidity grab. We'll take some off. It's slowly coming back in. We'll see what Google's up to. We always have to keep an eye on what the big boys are doing. I've seen Microsoft continuing to grind. We got Meta near the highs as well. But if they pull back aggressively, then we might be able to cook up a little bit. I don't know how much we're going to get from a continuation standpoint, but we'll hold on to it for as long as we can. Yeah, and absolutely. So this is what risk management is, and guess where you can learn that? We're getting out when we're supposed to, and then now we get a significantly better level to short off of, okay? And if you want to learn risk management, if you feel that's kind of where you're lacking, or gateways, multiple scenarios in which you feel like you can level up in your trading, there's a place you can go and find out all that information if you scan that QR code right there, ladies and gentlemen. Join the Trader TV Live Academy. All the hair moves to your chest, and yeah, exactly. It just goes to a different place there, Jaylee. But aside from that, there goes. That's our boy, Jaylee822.
He said the hair goes somewhere else. He's not in the chat as much anymore as he used to be.
Yeah, he's busy. He's busy making money.
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay, so Big Scalp says you think it's a long. That's fair. I'm short. I'm not going to tell you guys whatever direction, and I expect the exact same type of respect. I never say buy this, sell this, or do anything, and I expect the exact same thing. That's the whole nature of the beast. We're all relayed the same information. It's your choice and your decision in which direction you decide to go. Right now, we're currently short 49.23. What? What's the chat saying?
Oh man, Grant Ratcliffe is.
What's Grant?
He's a prickly one there, bro.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, we probably should put that. We probably should close that. But hey, man, to each their own. Whatever you want to do with your cash, then you continue to do it. So shout out to Grant. The TQ is starting to work for us. We got 15 cents just like that. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a move into 49. That's going to be one of our primary targets here.
Joey, I'm not liking absolutely anything. I don't think it's taken me this long to get into a trade in a while. It's just there's nothing, guys.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's really nothing.
If it's not there, don't force it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to. I'm not gonna trade like an idiot, right? But in any event, guys, VG did get into the volume weighted average price. I'm reluctant to punch in here on VG because I kind of explained that I felt VWAP was more of a line of best fit rather than a key area of support or resistance. And here it is. We're at 1142. VWAP, I think, is like 1143, 44, something like that. It's not really rocketing up, though, okay? It's not finding an immediate area of support at that volume weighted average price. So I'm not touching this thing. I'm going to continue to wait. There's nothing that I like right now, guys, and nothing is running in the way that you would expect a small cap gapper to run. And so I'm not going to chase anything. And I do apologize for not being in a position, but I'm just not going to get in one unless I like anything.
Cash is a position.
Cash is a position, says Joey, and he's absolutely right. Say that again, Katina Man? Cash Patel. You see this dude celebrating Cash Patel with the American hockey team?
Yeah, that's
you see that?
guy.
He was there. He was doing it live. Yeah. Oh, my days. Yeah, it was funny. In any event, TPET, though, could be an interesting one here. Let's load up TPET. And the reason I say that is because it's at VWAP, but it is now showing you 15 minutes worth of defense at that volume weighted average price. TPET's on the Amex? It is. Oh, okay, so right away, it's under suspicion. It has to be viewed, guilty until proven innocent, sort of thing. 3 bottoming tail candles at the volume weighted average price on the PET. TPET right over here, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. So this is the point that I want to make. It still hasn't broken that lower high trend, and so that downtrend line that I've drawn there, let's make that a bit thicker so that everybody else can see it on the other side of the screen. We're going to go to 4 thickness here, Joey. There we go, so that everybody can see that very clearly. What I will wait for, so step number 1 obviously is it's got to defend VWAP and get back above the buck. I think that that's reasonable. We're showing 98 3/4 pennies, and we have 3 pre-bottoming tail candles, all of which go below VWAP, but all the closing prints seem to defend it. So that's step number one. We get that, at least for the moment, VWAP defense. Step number two here is to get a decided break on a closing basis above that lower trend line. If I don't get that, I don't go into the trade. I was telling Joey, I feel like these ones are right here where they have a big up move and then a more prolonged lower high, lower high, lower high trend, and then they break through it. Those are the A to A plus setups. Alas, there is an exception. The exception being once you get that decided break above that lower trend line and then you form a lower high. That is where these patterns fail the most. But the good news is you're wise to the lower high because it doesn't usually just drop there. It'll mosey on up $1.15, $1.20. I'm just giving you any random numbers, and then you'll start seeing candles making lower lows. That's your indication that you may be on the way to forming a lower high. The high of the day, 136. So if we go into 120, 125, that counts as a lower high. So that's what I'm looking for there on TPET. I'm not going to jump in. Because it's not setting up, and VG just lost VWAP in the way that we were saying exactly looks like a line of best fit. It's not finding support there. At last, though, look at this. It's finding support at the 50. Did you ever see these small cap gappers finding support at the 50 on the 5? Like,
I wouldn't. That's you, man. That's good. That's
do you
good.
use the 50?
No.
You don't use the 50 on the 5?
I don't touch moving averages, man.
Well, there you go. Anyway, Trump is speaking apparently. I don't see him speaking, but is he? I see the what's it called? What is that room called? Is that the Rose Room? What is that called? You know what I mean there? See the bottom left of the screen?
Yeah.
What room is that?
I would have no idea.
In the White House.
Yeah.
In any event, I see the whole press gallery getting up. They're ready to go. So Adara is at the big desk. If there's anything in market moving, you better believe she's going to be coming in. She's going to be letting us know exactly what's going on. So you needn't listen to President Trump and listen to us at the same time. Adara has you covered. So make sure to hang out with us over here. Anything market moving, you will be made aware of, Joey.
All right, absolutely beautiful stuff, Cherif. All right, guys, so we got a little bit of a move there down to 49.10s from 49.40s here on the TQQs as the market is coming right back in. The reason why I decided to enter at this specific zone is because look where my stop is, a break of the high of the day, and then we're out of that trade. I got my eyes on what the mega caps are doing. Tesla slowly starting to come back in. Apple still hovering around those highs. So if these guys start to pull back aggressively, then we're going to be in a good position. I want to take the bulk of it off at 49. Let's see if we're fortunate enough to get that zone as Amazon is heading right back into VWAP. Keep an eye out on that one there, folks. But it could rebound, right? I wouldn't put it past this market here today to bounce off of this level. You can see that we had a bounce right off of 49.20, but then sellers stepped right back in. And then there's going to be another consolidative zone that we need to keep our eyes on that might be a little bit larger and act as key support that was prior resistance. So we'll keep our eyes out on this. The TQQs, negative 0.8% here today's session. Now, this is a great question from somebody from Roboro.
Who?
Roboro.
You'll get it, Roboro.
You get it, Roboro. Sorry if we butchered that. Anyways, hey, Joe, if I buy a call for WBD at a strike higher than the offer for the buyout, what happens then? Thanks. That's a great question. And I don't want to mislead you or anything along those lines. I've never purchased options for buyouts, right? I've never done that, so I can't even give you a straight answer above it. I don't know how logical that would be because the price most likely won't close above what the deal is made for, right? I was thinking about buying. I wasn't even thinking about going the contract route, to be honest with you. Just buy shares. What was the final deal at $31?
31.
Yeah, 31. $31. I think the share route is the smarter way because you don't have to worry about any of the Greek metrics really messing you up. And the one that I usually typically talk about is theta, right? So leading into that until the deal is done, I would just avoid the contract route, in my opinion. Again, I don't know enough about buying contracts via buyouts. Aside from that, guys, let's get right back into things. Let's see if we can get this breakdown. One thing that I wanted to note, and I forgot to mention a while ago, is that look how VWAP is hugging price. It's almost like a moving average here. So we have to be cautious of that because that means the volume is equal. So you're just continuously getting buyers stepping in aggressively, and they're not shying away at this point. We could get a break below it, but at this point, it doesn't really seem like the case because I'm worried about what Google's going to do here momentarily. If buyers decide to step in, then watch out. This name could go on a little bit of a run, and what is that going to do for the Nasdaq? It's going to drag it higher. You can see how we've been consolidating for quite some time now, and if it decides to break through these resistance zones with volume, it's going to drag the overall market up just because it's so heavily weighted. So that's what I got my eyes on. What's helping us come a little bit lower is Amazon. Tesla hasn't even really pulled back. I mean, you are off of those highs, fills the gap completely, and then now it's just hovering north of that specific zone. We have Meta as well. If it decides to pull back to VWAP, then we'll definitely get 49s on the TQQs, but a lot of it is weighing on what we got going on with Apple. If it puts in a new high of the day, watch out. It could definitely drag the market up, as I said on multiple occasions. But if Microsoft, which has been weak as of late, decides to pull back as well, then we're going to be sitting in a pretty good position right now. Sure.
All right, there's a lot of Circle ETFs that are going, guys.
Yeah, Circle's going nuts
again,
today,
eh?
man. Yeah.
I don't want to trade that because I feel like I'm breaking my rules when I do trade these non-small cap gapper names. So I know I did last week, but that doesn't mean I have to continue with the mistake. CCUP, this is another. I just want to make double check here. So this is 2 times leverage long for CRCL. What's CRCL up to on the day, Joey?
Yeah,
Let's find
it's
out
monster
right here.
today. Look at the daily on that thing.
It cleared 90
bro.
like it doesn't even matter. Obi must be getting smoked on this.
You want to find out?
Yeah. Let's. Well, I don't want to call him out for that. I just want to see if Northrop is putting me back positive.
Northrop is treating you well. It's treating you very,
it's up again
well.
today, Joey. It's up 4.5 into all-time highs. But let's not digress here. CCUP. This is a 2 times leverage ETF. It's starting to flatten out, as is the price action on the actual name itself, CRCL, with a 95.37 high. CCUP has a high of 518 and not really breaking down below the 10 EMA on the 5. It is still finding support there. So I would say be on the lookout here, number 1 on CCUP for a $5 loss. And then below that 480 to 475 level, to me, that's a buy zone. And the reason I say that is that's the breakout area, or that's the top end of the range of the breakout area of the initial bull flag. You get that initial bull flag breaking out 930. You get about 15 to 20 minutes of consolidation. I'm talking about from 940 until about 955, and then you get the continuation, and then it ends up making a general area high. So CCUP. If you want to trade CRCL, this is another way to do it. But look at ONDS is losing it and losing it in a freaking hurry here. Look at this move here on ONDS, man. Really, when we put this on, it was barely holding on to VWAP. In fact, Joey, it was above VWAP. This has been a really good move here for the shorts. That $12 level was a level they couldn't reclaim. After that 1242 pop, and then it dropped into VWAP, held up nicely. There was that nice candle there at 1025, but then $12 is what the shorts were earmarking as their line in the sand, and wow, they held up quite well. Nary a breach of 12. In fact, this is the only candle to breach 12, the 1050 candle on the 5. It went to 1201. Look at this bleeding its own blood into the low of the day now at 1107. Here comes $11. This thing goes red at 1009 or 1010. So but $1 south of here, it goes red on the day after being one of the bigger movers. So ONDS losing it and losing it in a hurry, guys. I'm still continuing to watch TPET. It has now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles that defend the volume weighted average price. Alas, it is still below that lower trend line, and that means I don't get into the trade. This one I'm keeping a close eye on because, you know, unlike many others, TPET is holding on to VWAP here as a key area of technical support. I'm also keeping my eye on STAK because we want to take this one back north above that 77.5 penny area, but it's below VWAP right now and not tradable under my system. Oleg, Joe, Cherif, is it time for SLV long? You know, that's probably a question that your boy Joey Ops would be better suited to answer, because quite frankly, you know, I did trade ZSL for a couple of days, but silver and the metal is not my specialty. I'll give Joe an opportunity to answer that in a second. 2 New York cents, yes, Cherif, once it could hold 12.30 and lost 12, that was it for me. Got a nice run up. Good on you for at least taking that move on ONDS, 2 New York cents, and good, even better on you for being alive to the fact that $12 was the area that the shorts were drawing their line in the sand, because it very clearly was. And here it is, about to lose $11. This is a very aggressive drop here on ONDS, and it hasn't had a red candle ever since losing or green candle ever since losing the volume weighted average price at 10 after 11, and it still hasn't put in a green candle here. So that's on the Uncle Sheriff shit list at the moment, and we're not going to be trading that one, Joey.
All right, man. Yeah, so we want to take a look at the tracker here. I mean, Obi's gains cut in more than half.
Obi's still killing it.
He's still killing it. He's up 12 1/4, 12 1/3. We'll call it. We'll be generous on that
Obi
one.
are doing really
yeah,
good.
they're doing really good here. Fabian, because of silver and Randy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Randy.
Did I go green?
Well, I mean, in the overall grand scheme of things, no, not quite. You're down 3.
Smoked, eh?
There you are, though. Northrop working really good for you.
Northrop's doing good, eh?
Double digits.
What's holding me down?
These two, man, Thermo Fisher and
AVGO
Broadcom.
is kind of flat, right?
Yeah, and
I'm
then
down 11% on
Neil down 40%. And Aaron,
AV?
yeah. That's an elimination.
I think
right
that's
there.
a
Shout out to the elimination chamber over the
good
weekend.
mover there on
But before we go over to Adara, guys, there it is. 49.10. We said we were going to take the majority of it off at 49s. We got a little bit south of that before we did. I'm sitting on approximately 10% of my position remaining, and then sure enough, boom, a nice flush to the downside on the TQQs as the market started to come back in aggressively, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. So a nice opportunity. Had to wait for at least a 1.5 to 1 on this trade, considering we were only risking way more than that. I was risking about like 10, 15 cents, and then we wait until we hit approximately a 3 or 4 to 1, and then boom, 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 boom. Still slightly red on the day. I haven't even looked at my P&L, to be honest with you, but here it is on the TQQs, a nice move to the downside there. All right, Adair, what do you have for us?
What I have for you guys is crypto, and specifically a nice move up here in BTC. Now, Wednesday, February 25th, so last Wednesday, we had that high of roughly 70,000. Today, putting a high of 69.7. So we're trying to break off here this previous level of resistance. And to be fair, I mean, this trend of higher lows from that base that we made on now almost a month ago, February 6th, that Friday. It's held up pretty well. Like that 60,000 bounce did provide a little bit of a buoy here in Bitcoin. Let's see if we can break off that 70,000 level and continue this rally. And we did get an interesting note from JPMorgan this morning saying that they believe if the Clarity Act passes by mid-2026, that could be a, quote, positive catalyst for the digital asset space, saying that the bill could, of course, actually accelerate the tokenization of traditional financial assets. We've already heard that Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong is confident this bill could pass soon. So again, JPMorgan saying, hey, if we get this bill passed by the midway point of the current year, could be a good look for crypto. We'll have to wait and see, A, if that comes to pass, and B, if the effect is what they're expecting it to be with regards to the crypto and digital asset space. Back to you. No Trump yet, guys.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking as well, too, Adair. We got a multi-month consolidation, or I shouldn't say multi-month. It looks like it's been about a month since it's been consolidating around those lows, and that's kind of been the nature of that beast, right? It makes these legs, and then it does essentially nothing, trades within a range for quite some time, and that's been the narrative of Bitcoin since the launch of the ETF. But there it is, guys, a nice move to the downside. Could this just be a breath? We are bouncing off of the volume-weighted average price. I'm looking at it at the 10-minute time frame. At this pace, I think we could break it, and then we'll look to take some off at 65. That could be an additional out, and then I won't be sitting on very much of my position, but the TQQQ is working out relatively well, giving it the multiple opportunities for the thesis to start working and waiting for it to shake out. You have to get engaged. If you do have confidence within that trade, you take a shot, but then you add a little bit more up here. It wasn't much. I only put 20% more on than what I had on this specific position, but it's working for us for now. All right, thank you very much there, Thomas. Thomas Hutchinson. Very much appreciated. Good job, Joey Bear. I mean, I wouldn't even call me. Oh, Charlie, I know you like to short as well. To be honest with you, I don't even really care, man. Up, down, and around. I just look to go where the potential positive and the right trade is. It doesn't matter the direction. I try not to hold a bias, even though it does step into your mind once in a blue moon. But for the narrative, here it is, a nice little short. We're down 1.5% on the TQQs. And then we have Netflix below the volume-weighted average price right now. And let's see what the other boys are up to. Are they starting to come in? Microsoft has now breached the volume-weighted average price. Apple still hovering around that 264 mark. What has Google been up to? Oh my Lanta. Here it is, right? This is what I'm talking about. We might break up and fill this gap. That's what it looks like it wants to do. Super strong right now. I mean, that might be a little bit of a push. Consolidative range, but the longer the consolidation, the bigger the breakout can be. And there's the volume really stepping into the Nasdaq and helping the recovery in the TQQs and the Qs. And Cherif mentioned this not too long ago. He's like, man, look how long it's been grinding, and then you have a span of one candle engulf everything, and look at the volume stepping in, okay? That shows me that it's relatively strong. If we get stopped out, so be it. At this point, I don't know if I'm gonna get that 65 fill, but it's regardless. I don't have very much size. I'll hold that to a break-even stop. And if the market even gets anywhere close to this neck of the woods, the chances of for it to continue climbing higher are relatively high.
All right, man, I am putting in a breakout trade here for TPET. And we're gonna see how this goes. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. So the breakout trade comes above 108. It's at 106. I need to see a little bit more. There is that triple bottom from 1050, 1055, and 11 o'clock, all of which defend that 106, excuse me. So I need to see that level cleared, and I need to see it cleared on a closing basis in order to work in. It's above the downtrend line now, but it could just be a perfunctory break, and that ain't the move, right? At least for me. Also, thank you to, who was it? I want to call them out. Grunfeld calling out DFNS. Great call out, brother. Fantastic call out there. This one looks a lot better, way closer to the highs than to the lows. Here it is, 2 pennies off the lows, showing 241, up almost 37%, and quite respectful, I should say, of that 10 EMA on the 5, an area breach, and when it did, the money fills, as they often are between the 10 moving average, exponential, always exponential with me, and the 20. Doesn't quite touch the 20, but breaches the 10, on a very, very small amount. But VG also catching a bit of a bid here. And now, as I've seen a little bit more on VG, it's very obvious that the longs are using the 50 exponential moving average as an area of support. You get a double bottom at 10.05 and 10.10 off a random area, and then you get it again. You get a quadruple bottom here from 11.15, 11.20, 11.25, 11.30, holding at that 11 1/4, and now rocketing up into 11 2/3 with a high of the day, 11.91. So be on the lookout for that. VG's making a move back to DFNS, topping tail candle into 243. A buy area here could be 230, low 230s. Reason being, I perceive an ascending wedge of sorts with that 230-ish acting as a local area of resistance. Take a look at this 1020 candle rejection, 1050 candle. You get above it momentarily, 1105, but look at the selling coming right back down into 2 1/5, and then you finally clear it, I would say, on a semi-decisive basis here on the 1130 candle with the 1135 candle making that day high, 243. I'm talking about DFNS, keeping a close eye on that, but not pulling the trigger quite yet. Continuing to watch TPET. I'm sorry, guys, not in a position, but I won't be until I like something. And so far I haven't. 108 we're waiting for here on TPET. And quite frankly, we haven't gotten that 108. And this is why I was concerned, because we look for the right formula. You get a quadruple bottom, not even, 5. You get 5 different candles, all of which defend VWAP. You get a break of the downtrend line and no continuation. That's why I insisted that it clear that 106 level on a closing basis before I work in. Doesn't mean that it won't. It could come back down, test $1, and then make the move above 108, right? So TPET, my breakout trade still remains. It's still active right now. I haven't canceled it, and I won't cancel it unless I see something really here to dissuade me from getting in. So continuing to watch here, guys. VG, specifically TPET. I'm probably not really looking at STAK that much anymore just because it broke down. That candle there with the $1-ish rejection, 96 penny high, then losing it. It's down to 65 pennies, man. That's an aggressive move down, and unless it can retrace, you know, quite decisively, I'm going to stay away from that. Chris, what? Cavano, 7250. Cherif, thoughts on BBAI? That's a Katina, man's, you know, what's it called? We call those lottery tickets around here. Oh, it's nice. I like trading in this kind of, I got to tell you, I don't mind this whatsoever, to be quite honest with you, Joey. It's a very relaxing mood to trade in the dark. You're not, you know, you don't have lights in your face and stuff like that.
I like it.
BBAI is looking quite good, guys. The big bear here looks like it found a little bit of support at 405. It'd be nice if we could just trade in the dark, like for an entire show. Cherif after dark. Or
Let me interrupt you for a second.
Small caps after dark.
Let me interrupt. Small, yeah, that's a good one. There's your segment, small cap after dark. Considering there's no hold parameters. Dude,
boy.
Look at Google Go. This is what I was talking about, that breakout. And then look what happened to the Nasdaq. Just absolutely ripped. So you sit in this trade for a half an hour, whatever it may be, and then in the span of like 10, 15 minutes, just straight to the top side as Apple put in a new high of the day, as Google's putting in a new high of the day as well. Good luck going against the grain on that one with those big boys continuing to climb higher. You stand zero chance on the short. I was fortunate enough to get that move, and then off to the races. There it goes, man. Yeah.
What happened to that boy?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, shout out Birdman.
Birdman. A true gangster.
Yeah,
He's actually a gangster, though.
You know what's crazy?
He's like the baby, right? Like they were actually both gangsters before they actually turned into rappers.
Do you hear what the baby? He did a man in a Walmart.
Like after his rapping career or before?
Before. Yeah. Self-defense he got, so that's why he never really got
Don
locked
King,
up.
same thing. Great, but he got clipped with manslaughter, but then he got off because it was self-defense.
Like Mike Tyson's Don King?
Yes.
Dude, what's he still doing around boxing?
I don't know, man.
Get that guy out of here.
I don't know.
He's suing the WBC?
Is he actually?
Yeah.
For what?
I have no idea.
For what?
I have no idea.
Oh, my days.
But yeah, there goes the overall market, guys. Google breaking through that consolidative range, and then you have Tesla about to put in a new high of the day. So that might be it for the shorts for now. You're going to have to be hella patient on this one. A massive rip up from 48.75 all the way to 49.56. And in the span of about 15 minutes, you don't have a red candle. That is some signs of strength right there, guys. Fortunate enough to get out when we were supposed to. What a VWAP bounce off the 5-minute time frame in the TQQ.
Ian, Cherif, where do you think SLV is going? What do you think the SLV lining is today? What do you mean lining? The silver lining. Okay. I like that one. Shout out to Ian. I don't know if you're asking me about the silver lining in the market or you're actually asking me about SLV. I don't like SLV at all, brother, as a long. I'm looking short if I'm looking short here. Quite frankly, look at this. This is a stair step down. In the same way, Ian, that we would be looking if you flipped this and you kind of took the image and then flipped it on its head. This is what we'd be looking for as a long, right? You'd be looking for a move up, in this case, a move down to 78 1/3. This is SLV's chart. And then a move back up to test 80, right? Why? Because you have a triple bottom at 80, 925, 930, 935, holds 80, comes back in, and look how cleanly it rejects the volume weighted average price. Shorts must have been cooking on this, man. In that 1035, 1040, 1045, and then down goes Fraser all the way down into the low here, Joey, 78.34, and now you're holding on for dear life here below 80 on SLV, down 6 2/3. This is a really good looking short chart, brother. So if you're asking me intraday, I'd be looking short unless 80 is taken and taken quite decisively. I think that is where your line in the sand is. You needn't be a chartered market technician like the NOS boss to throw in a line and see how cleanly that actually jives. But you know, you never really know with the metals. They could turn, and I'm not really a metals trader, so I won't speak to the fundamentals of it. But I'm watching DFNS here make a move. Okay, it's holding the 10 EMA. It held 230. And I wasn't alive to it, so I'm going to continue to watch over here as we definitely have a possible entry. So what I need to do now is execute my trading plan. So let's go, Cherif PC users. I have to restart this. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, so I have to close this. I created this this thing, guys. It's like a risk calculator, but I set it up properly at home. The one over here still requires me to fine tune it, so I'm actually running it within what's it called? What's this program called? Visual Studio Code. So that's kind of my issue there. Let's see exactly what we got here over here. So we're gonna go to Adara. She's got news. When I get back, we'll talk about the DFNS trade.
And I have Iran oil updates too. Market actually hitting intraday highs. I'm seeing reports, or I guess from Iranian state media, so this isn't confirmed yet, but apparently we have Iran's Revolutionary Guards claiming that a fuel tanker is currently burning in the Strait of Hormuz after being hit by 2 drones. Now, according to these similar reports from Iran state TV, there has not been an attack right now carried out by Iran against Saudi Aramco, so that's good right now. But again, apparently there's a fuel tanker burning in the Strait of Hormuz after being hit by 2 drones. Once again, no President Trump, though lovely piano music playing here in the White House as we wait his arrival.
Yes, thank you very much for that. All right, we're in here. There it goes into 247. This is the day high. I'm looking, guys, for $2.64 on DFNS. I've got 41s. It's showing 48s. We've got size on here, so let's see if this one can take out the $0.50. I stop out at $2.28, so we will risk a little bit over here. What do you got, Joey?
Good stuff. I got 2NY in the chat. Mentioning something about SoFi. Let's pull that bad boy up and see what we got going on. The whole market is continuing to climb higher here, guys. So you want to be really patient. If there is going to be a move back in, you're going to have to sit on your hands for quite some time, I think, and wait for that high quality opportunity to really step in. There goes SoFi. There is some room between the volume weighted average price and where we're currently trading at. So again, you want to be extremely patient on today's session, especially if you're looking for that retracement back into VWAP or something along those lines. Here is, on the grand scheme of things for SoFi, it's not much, right? The downtrend is still intact. I don't know what my friend Robinhood's been up to. I love that I have to do this now all the time. Okay, there we go. Robinhood getting a nice bounce, so basing out around that $70 mark, finding somewhat of a rebound. Adair, talk to us more.
Is being played in here with the intro music as he enters the room. Looks like President Trump's speech will begin again. It's supposed to start at 11, starting right now at 11:46. I'll keep you guys posted. No need to go anywhere else. We'll get all of the market-related news from Trump right here at Trader TV Live. Back to you.
Exactly, guys. You needn't go anywhere else. We will have everything covered on this channel. You don't have to play both things at the same time and listen to Joey talk, President Trump talking in one ear, me yelling about small caps in the other ear. Keep it locked here. We're going to have everything for you, Joey.
Yes, absolutely. There goes Bitcoin, a nice consolidative zone around the lows. We were talking about this not too long ago, and then now we're at the top end of this range. For me, I think it'd be really difficult for me to buy the break. Ooh, voice crack. To buy the breakout there, in my opinion, right? Like $36, $35 is your low, $35.65, and then now you're trading up to 40. We'll take it. The long term isn't going to complain about that whatsoever. But let's see what happens. It's really tough to draw your trend line here, guys, because that would be classified as the backside. But this was some waterfall type price action that has snapped as well. So let's see if Bitcoin's going to base out here for some time. Moving forward, let's see what Netflix, is it recovered yet? Not quite, but it did put in a new high past this previous, the day that they were like, hey, we're out of this bidding war. Once they released that, gave this enough strength to put in some couple solid sessions here on Netflix. It's definitely a more tricky one for me to trade. I've taken a couple attempts on it, and I've gotten out too early just because of the ebb and flow of it. Not really for me, more of a momentum play. When I enter a trade, I would like it for it to work as quick as possible. If it works instantly, then the better off. The longer it takes, the more weak these Devin Haney hands seem to get. Moving forward, the Nasdaq bouncing off of these support levels, and I was talking to myself, this is what I was thinking, like this is so Condor world for all the options writers. This is exactly what you want. And the exact same thing here with Netflix. I think just due to the fact that we've broken that trend and now we're on the back side of things, this can be an additional trend line right here. And for me, I was looking to write some puts. So that's my narrative. Those are going to be my next couple of plays here, some put writing and maybe some condor action in the overall market, put writing there in Netflix. With that being said, let's go and take a look at the chain and see what we can get. I was looking at condors here, as you can see that, but let's head over to the verts. I want to set up a vertical spread.
Get it, Joe.
Little Uzi verse. We'll turn this off because we don't really need that right now. I want to go over to the 11th expiration.
I like to have a diamond in my head too, bro.
Diamond in your head?
Yeah.
Diamond.
No, you see his head?
Who's
Doesn't he have a diamond like right here?
Oh, he did, but I'm pretty sure it got stolen. He spent a lot of money on that thing, and then someone robbed.
It got robbed?
Yeah, because he was like crowd surfing. I think that thing was like $10-20 million or something.
That's
like that.
crazy. It was big, bro. It was not small.
Huge, man. Imagine you got that.
Guys, DFNS is going. Here we go, guys. This is a breakout right now. We've got shares on in this one. We got 41s. There is 63. It's really going here. It's the time to take out some shares. So we are going to do just that right now. And we're sending you to Adara.
So we knew here, we were hearing reports that Trump was going to, during this Medal of Honor ceremony, talk about Iran. Looks like he's going to front load the presentation with Iran talk, and then we're going to be getting Medal of Honor stuff after. So at least we kind of now have a sense of how this is going to go. Trump already commenting on Iran, saying that the U.S. continues to carry out large-scale combat operations within Iran. I'll let you guys know when he stops talking about Iran and transitions to the Medal of Honor part of events, but either way here, currently Iran talks very much happening. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that, Adair. Topping tail candle now, manifesting on DFNS, 68 penny high. As you can see, 69er unfilled here on my chart, Joey. I'm concerned about the topping tail candle, but as you and I always say, well, I say it a lot, but you know what I mean? These topping tail candles on the small cap gappers, it's not the same as seeing on an Apple, on an NVDA, on an Amazon.
Absolutely, absolutely agree with you. So just back to this writing here, quick, before we send it back to Cherif's, the market did find somewhat of a top for now momentarily, a slight pullback in the big names. I mean, the Nasdaq there, but Tesla still a lot of strength, similar prints and topping tail candles as Cherif was just mentioning. But this is what I want to talk about right here, guys, is these 90s. You're not going to be collecting the most amount, but $73. There's not really an increase, but that expires March 13th. I think it'd be best, so now that I'm just thinking kind of out loud here, is that these 90s, this is more what I want to get involved with. So you can write those 90s, and then sure enough, what is that? Oh, that's maybe a little bit too much. I would rather go 30 days. We'll go 30 days here. We'll send it to April 2nd. That's 31 days. 90, you collect 172, you give it a $5 spread. That's not bad, 90 bucks. You put that in your pocket. You collect the majority of that premium, and then it's see you later. So right now, I'm looking at the overall, the Nasdaq. Once again, if it worked once, maybe we can get an additional entry on this trade. A second pullback here, a test and a failed break of that high. I think there could be a good time to engage. It will then establish a lower high, and then that's going to be a good signal for me to get involved.
Joey.
Yes, sir.
2-1 risk to reward ratio. What does it say right there?
Yeah. 264.
264, Joey.
What'd you take it off at?
Yeah, we got close. We took 63.
Oh, okay,
we took 63.
Okay.
Sad because it went into 68s, but now DFNS is coming down and coming down hard. Here it is, though. Let's talk about this, right? Because the price action on these small cap gappers, you know, it can look a little convoluted, and I do agree that they are dangerous. I'm never going to try to, sell you in any different light. But remember what we talked about before we took this trade? We said once twice. OB, he is the one thrice. Tried to break through 230, and on the third time, it actually got it, right? So I had a bias that that 230 level is a flat top break level. What does that mean? That means it was resistance. Now we look for it to act as support. Doesn't mean it will every time. We're trying to put the odds on our side as intraday traders, and that's all that we're trying to do here. It is coming down into 230. It does have support at that level, namely the price action resistance we just spoke of, and the volume weighted average price, which is right here, pardon me, right now into 228. It comes into 29. That's a really, really ugly red candle that it just put in there, okay? And if you weren't using sound risk management skills, you probably got murked on this, especially if you were DCAing or saying, look, it's going to pop back up without having hard stops. It's coming back in, man, and this is really ugly. This is really ugly. How many shares does this candle have? About 800,000 shares, and we still have another 2 minutes left on this monster. So DFNS around for a good time, not a long time. By the way, my TPET breakout trade into 108 is still active. I haven't canceled it, and I'm starting to, I'm undecided about how I feel about this one right now. It seems to keep getting support off VWAP, but every time it comes back in this case, it was the 1130 candle that went decidedly green, tried to take out that 106 triple bottom low that we had and failed. And now drop back down into VWAP, holding 97 pennies, a little above $1, a little bit below $1. But what you think you can argue with is that this is 4 red candles in a row. However you try to square that circle, they're going to be 4 red candles in a row, whether or not it's holding above support or not. So yeah, definitely keeping an eye on that. DFNS is really losing it here, man. Holy cow! Look at this move down, 268, and then. Get it, Russ. And then 217. No, it's not even 217. So 268 candle high, 217 candle low in 1 5-minute candle. And quite frankly, it's not even tradable under my system now because it lost VWAP. So DFNS bleeding its own blood. But for the moment, we're going to pause. We're sending you to Adara.
I'm continuing to talk about Iran here, saying that with regards to the timeline, it's, quote, whatever it takes. They projected about 4 to 5 weeks, but apparently they're already ahead of schedule. They also think they can potentially go for longer here. Apparently they will continue their mission to crush the threat that Iran poses to the U.S. These are President Trump's words. Back to you.
You know what 2 New York said?
What did he say?
I don't even want to repeat it.
Oh.
It was really funny, though. I'm going to have to tell you off camera.
Where did he say it in there?
It was said a few minutes ago, Joey.
Yeah?
Do you remember Abu Baghdad?
Baghdadi?
Al-Baghdadi. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember when he was Trump.
Do you remember what President Trump referred to him as when announcing his death?
No, but I remember he's like, he cried like a baby or something like that, yeah.
No, he did, but do you remember the part before that?
No, like a bit.
Yeah, well, the chat probably, you know, maybe they remember and they'll throw it in. I don't want to say it.
No, just say it, man.
No, yeah, JL82, you know exactly what I'm talking about there. Yeah, so 2 New York Sense was like, did he refer to him as that yet?
Oh, no.
Khamenei, the cleric who died over the weekend, but yeah, there you go. Now everybody gets it. Everybody gets it.
Yeah.
There was a lot he got called there, Joey.
Yeah,
a lot he got called.
I mean, man.
President Trump, man, unreal.
Man, oh man.
Anyway, guys, VG's headed back up. VG's making a move here. What a clean hold here on VG at the 50 EMA on the 5 and another move. This is the area of resistance though, guys. Take a look what we did in the implied balance open from 930 until I want to say about 950-ish. We were dancing with that 1170 level, a little above, a little bit below. And here we are again. This candle just got into 1172 candle high. Looks like it's turning into a topping tail now. So very consolidative is VG. However, I'm buoyed by the fact that higher lows keep manifesting here with a possible-ish flat top. I would say give that flat top a range. Let's not, restrict it to a specific 10-penny level. Let's say 1170 to maybe 1180, maybe even a little bit higher. So what I do like, though, are those higher lows. If those higher lows keep holding here on VG, we could see a move into 12 and even above. It's still up 20%, man. So let's put some respect on this one's name. But VG, nothing for me to do quite on this one yet, as it has not set up Joseph options.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, I was gonna repeat it, but then I decided not to. It's not comical whatsoever. Anyways, aside from that, guys, you can see that the market's continuing to climb higher here. I got my eyes on Broadcom filling in that gap here today. Could this be a resistance zone for the overall market? And we talk about not putting yourself into analysis paralysis and just having so many things, but that's the nature of trading the of the Qs, right? And the TQQs is that you have to see what these are all up to. We have a complete gap fill here on Apple, still climbing higher. Microsoft putting in a new HOD, bounces right off of VWAP, and I'm just being patient, sitting on my hands. This trade may not come to me today, but I think there will be an opportunity. This is just up and to the right. These pullbacks are micro. When you get fidgety with the keys, man, I get ready to send it over to you.
No, I was checking to see if TPET was free for shorts because I might be looking to short TPET, so I got to talk to Neil for a second.
Talk to him. Yeah. Talk to him. So there's Meta, Broadcom climbing higher. Yes, let's go Meta. I mean, not a horrible day for the LTs. Man, we were up to 743 in this name, and then we have over $100 pullback, $120 in the span of a couple of weeks. So that's never really fun to sit through. Could this be the bottom in Salesforce? I know this name has been strong, and we are on the backside of this trend. So bouncing right off of 177 and climbing higher now up to a $200. It's hard for me to buy high and sell higher here, so that's why I'm kind of looking for that really tight risk to reward for a short move back into some prior support or resistance zones, and I think that's going to be the trade. But, guys, you know what time it is. It's already noon, all right? It's time for Happening Now, and then Neil with his lesson of the day.
Bang.
Lots happening this morning, of course, and I actually want to start with some news. This headline came in a couple minutes ago. I first checked Smith & Wesson, which didn't move on this, but Grab a Gun did. Supreme Court reportedly suggesting that it'll be lifting its gun ban for certain substance users. So PEW did get a little bit of a pop here, but of course, market certainly on watch, especially oil and defense names, which we'll get into in a minute, as we have U.S. President Trump still speaking here at this Medal of Honor ceremony. He's moved away from the Iran portion of the speech. He's now focusing on awarding the Medal of Honor, but he did provide a bit of an update here with Iran, said that they apparently are ahead of schedule. They're willing to do 4 to 5 weeks roughly in terms of this operation, but it can also go a little bit longer. He said he's not in a rush. He's not going to get bored, and, quote, whatever it takes is really his timeline. Speaking of which, I mean, Palantir is certainly on watch, bit of a double top on PLTR around 147. Now, this stock got a nice little rally here on Friday afternoon after U.S. President Trump indicated that Department of Defense and any U.S. departments were not going to be working with Claude. That did open the door for, OpenAI as well, but also for PLTR. And, of course, Palantir as a defense-adjacent play, also benefiting from these geopolitical tensions. Now, speaking of said geopolitical tensions, we're going to have oil on watch. A lot of these names already giving up the move, and other more traditional, for lack of a better term, defense plays like Lockheed Martin, RTX, and Boeing as well, but also Northrop Grumman. Let's talk here about some of these earnings plays. We know that BRKB and NCLH, probably the two biggest day one earnings plays on watch today, but we also have some reporting after the bell. BBAI, Big Bear AI, and MongoDB, two of the biggest. I do have kind of earnings preview or revenue graphics available for both of these. Not yet. This is a tease. They're going to be posted throughout the day, but either way here, lots of exciting earnings later this week as well, including Broadcom, Costco. So tons to look at as we send you over to Neil and his lesson. Neil, what do you have for the people today? How will we educate the people?
I'll tell you how, Adara, because today we're going to talk about avoiding
emotional damage.
And look, today would be the perfect example of having a plan of action based on looking at the charts at 7 a.m. or 7:30 in the morning, or looking at what happened over the weekend. And if you just if you hammer down and are just glued to your initial read, you could get absolutely destroyed. But you've got to be adaptive. You have rules in place. You have a plan for a reason. Like the first example I'll give, and I'll talk about what does work and what didn't work, and why we avoided some potholes today, is SLV. Like, if there's a logic behind why I like something, right? Which is, I'll start with the example of the higher time frame chart. If my reason for liking it was, oh, there's your higher lows, there's a bit of a trend break, there's it above the 50 period, there's it breaking out another fresh high. Like, there was a lot of things looking good. You had a bit of a 2-day pullback, you had a strong day on Friday, there's your all-day resistance at the 85 mark. So what do I have in my note? Hey man, look for that bid into prior high. In the pre-market, you can see, this candle here is not even the open. This is also not, this is the open right in here. And the first thing we're doing is rejecting the 85 zone. So you can, like, I can sit there saying consolidation over the prior high, look for the dip into prior high. It's not there at the open. It's doing literally the opposite. It's actually rejected the 85 off the open. So that's a simple case where I don't even have to worry about losing on a long trade in silver, because my reason for wanting it even to the long side was, A, you can go for the directional flight to safety, all that stuff that was over the weekend, but the support at the prior high was never there. So you don't even bother with the trade. Now, it's all the way down. If you're just thinking, oh, it's a long today, well, you get rinsed. It's underneath that level. You get rinsed, and maybe you catch one bid or two off the lows. Instead, you look for something which is fitting the bill. And at the open, the only thing, like the actual short that fit the bill of what we expected or what you would have expected in terms of continuation was weakness in the travel space. Now, I picked NCLH, partly because it had earnings this morning, so all of the travel names are going to be down, but they had earnings and missed on their guidance, so I figured it could be doing its own thing regardless. I think that gives you a bit of an advantage. If you can find something which is doing its own thing in the direction you like, that way, if it's a relief rally, fine, at least this could still fall on their earnings. Now, at the open, this was following to suit. The gap down was held. The first thing it did is reject the volume weighted average price. That's an actual setup I like to the short side off the open. So it was available. The trade was available. It was never there in silver. There was never any support that gave us our opportunities to get in. So you've got to be able to back away knowing that I could have liked the direction all weekend long coming in, but if I don't see something at 9:30 at the open that tells me that I should be in this, then you don't have to do it. It would be the same thing with if you wanted to, maybe you would like Bitcoin short or something. You had to be able to get away from it. Now this does play out in more than one way. Sometimes there are going to be some, I think, misses, and for myself, this will be a frustrating one. And I'm going to look at that. I know Cherif is looking at that, the TPET as well, those small cappers. This is a disappointing one because I also felt that Indo was if we do flush and we lose VWAP, it was overextended. It might be a really good short. But this would be a case of, well, looking for a bounce in energy made me not as aggressive as I should have been on INDO, not as aggressive at the volume weighted average price, not as aggressive maybe holding it through the low of the day, not aggressive playing it off of the initial VWAP fail. All of those things could be missed opportunities in the other direction. Like, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, hey, look at me, I avoided getting rinsed on a silver short, and I was, we're able to find that NCLH. Well, it played another way here too. The energy names never showed any strength. And when that was the case, this trade became doubly good, to the point that I would argue it should have been my top stock today. It's not, NCLH was. But I think if I play this one right, INDO did everything you would have wanted for an energy pullback trade. It was up 50%. So you have to have, it cuts in both directions. You have to have that mentality that if things go opposite to what everybody is thinking in the morning or whatever the weekend was, if you get a reversal play, you got to hold it for more. And one last thing in terms of avoiding emotional damage. It all comes down to one thing: having a reason for all of your actions. You have a reason to get in, you have a reason to get out of each trade. If your reasons to get in don't happen, then you don't make the trade. If your reasons to get out of a trade happen, or your reason that you got in is no longer there, say like a trend break or something like that, then you've got to get out of a trade. And if you have something to which you follow your plan, then trust me when I tell you, okay, if there's one thing I can impart on you, you'll never see me freaking out about things oftentimes. Because in my opinion, the second I'm in something, I have spent the downside risk, right? So I'll give you the example. Like everyone can see what's happening in AVAV. Now, we made our picks in the middle of January, but I bought this sucker off the 200-period moving average literally at the beginning of the year in my personal account. I told everybody this. And I know I covered some. I covered a third when it made that crazy run up to $400, somewhere in front of the 380, I forget the exact price. But I bought back in at the 200-period moving average. But if you know something about me, then you would know this. If I am buying the 200-period moving average on a swing, here, where do you think my out was? Do you think I had a stop underneath this prior low on the daily? Yeah. And it bounced multiple times, holding that stop level. Do you think I'm feeling pretty good about the dip buy? Yeah. When it broke today, am I emotional about it? Or am I just out of the trade when it broke down under that support level? We got one initial move. It pulled a 50% move to the upside. If it ultimately comes back and loses you 15, 20%, you got to be able to live with it. But that stop goes, you got to get out. The way I see it, when you buy it there, or you buy it there, or you buy it there, if your stop is here, then you have spent that money. If you buy 10 grand worth of a stock and you have a 20% stop, then to me, you have spent $2,000 on that trade, right? So that's out of your pocket. I know you still have the full position when it's in the money, or it goes 20% in the money. You're like, oh, I'm up 2 grand. In my opinion, I have spent that 20% because that's where my out is going to be. So mentally, if you have that in the back of your mind, that's my reason for getting out. That's the amount of money that I'm spending on that trade. Then you're good to go. Then you're not shocked when something crazy happens. Then you're not freaking out when it goes to the downside. So a couple of things that have to happen. No matter how high your conviction is, you need to have a reason to get into a trade. If those weren't met today for longs in, say, like metals or longs in energy, great. You never had a reason to jump in. They were just flushing all the way. But also have yourself a reason to get out. And know that you've spent that money. If you determine, I'm in at this price, I'm out for this reason, this is how much I'm risking, think of it as spending that money on the trade already. That way, when you get stopped out eventually, in your mind, that was already gone. And when you take out the win, you're like, okay, well, this is what that money bought me, right? It bought me this win. So if you want to avoid emotional damage, it starts with having a plan. But today was a perfect example of you didn't have to be in the trade. If you like metals long, I can't see any reason you would have been in it at the open. If you like Bitcoin short, until it started testing some highs or doing some reversions, there wasn't much of a reason to be in it either. So that's part of the game, everybody, understanding that you can sit on the sidelines even though something was in your plan of action if it never sets up. Just by the way, we got a nice salad today. There's a lot of chicken. It's grilled chicken. They have some weird, there's just a pesto sauce or pesto seasoning they put on everything. It's on the chicken today, but it's like a little chicken salad. Looks pretty healthy, good amount of protein, so I'm pretty happy with the lunch. I'll give it a 7.4 out of 10 because it's not flavorful enough to make it great, but it's all around pretty solid. So hopefully your day is going well. Hopefully you're having a good start to the month. And back to the midday, boys.
You gotta give Neil a lot of credit there because he is hyper specific in the rating that he assigns these foods. 7.4 is,
yeah, I gotta ask Neil this, 7.4 but not much flavor. So does that deserve a 7.4? I'm leaning more towards a 6.4 on that one.
No, so the 7.4 part of it is, look, it's a grilled chicken salad, so it doesn't need to have a ton of flavor. You can put the dressing on there. There's avocado in the salad, which is pretty good. You get tomatoes. So it's a pretty, like it's solid enough, and there's a decent amount of chicken for the protein.
That's good.
Okay. So like to me, if it had a little more flavor, then it would be like an A. Okay. Like it would be in the A range if it had more flavor.
No, but I like how you're including in your analysis, Neil, the quantity of protein.
Yes.
That's a very important point.
We're taking quantity into factor here.
Absolutely, bro. You're going to give me a couple of grams. What am I going to do with a couple of grams?
But if it's high quality, though.
Joey, we need hypertrophy here. Hypotrophy, however you want to pronounce it. You're not going to get hypotrophy with a couple of grams here and there. That's all I think about.
All right, someone says they love the channel. We love you.
We love you, man.
Yeah, we love you.
We'll talk about food. We'll talk about stocks.
Fighting.
everything under the sun. Now your boy Devin Haney, all of a sudden, he wants to get back in the ring with Ryan. What happened to last week's little chirp there? Oh, it's been done. It's past. It's over.
It's over. Yeah. He got the no contest on that one.
He's going to catch another hook to the body. He's going to drop again. And then we're all going to have a little chuckle at his behalf right there.
Joey feeling fine today, says positive.
Yeah, you're feeling good right now. You're in a good mood.
I had a good sleep, man.
Dude, I got 80 sleep score last night.
Really?
Yeah, I usually 70s or 60s.
Listen, I don't want, listen.
All right, you're gonna call the whole thing into question.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're going. Exactly where you're going.
Dude,
bro.
I don't need a machine to tell me the quality of my sleep. I know it. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I agree with you on that. Like if I've had a good night's sleep, I kind of
man.
I don't mind it quantified though to remind me that I've done well. So it's Birdo C. Cherif B talking about the Prem 2 almost fumbled against Chelsea. Brother, what is happening with my team? It's like watching a mid to bottom level team here. They're just not the same. They're just not. And I don't know what the hell is going on. And you're seeing it from a lot of the very consistent names. Trossard is playing poorly. I even got to say Saka not looking that great right now. And I still don't have any idea why Arteta is freaking playing Hincapié when you have Calafiori on the bench and Miles Lewis-Skelly. Brother, get that man off. He scored an own goal yesterday. Anyway, bro. Anyway, the whole thing. I have no idea what's going on. You have no idea who I'm talking about. But I think, this Calafiori guy who should be playing ahead of Hincapié, I think he's doing some stuff off the field because it makes no sense. He's exponentially better and he's not playing. There's got to be something that's going on there, and I don't know what the hell is going on. But my girlfriend loves Arsenal, and she has a rough week. She's had rough weekends lately. Brother, her and I both, man. It has been tough to be an Arsenal fan lately. We're getting the wins, but they don't look good. They don't look good at all.
Simple.
So, yeah. You have to phrase that different. I don't know what that means. Your boy's cooked. Yeah, shout out to Party P. I hope not, man. We still have a lot of games to go, and it doesn't look good for us. I'm hoping this is just a phase, and they come out of this funk, but it doesn't look good. Joey.
Yeah.
I've been watching TPET here on the screen. Neil was nice enough, kind enough to get me shorts for this one. I'm still waiting. It hasn't set up for me. It's holding VWAP. It's in this very, very prolonged range, which we've been in now for an hour and 10 minutes. We dropped into the volume-weighted average price at 11.05. We've been holding VWAP since that time. Only wicks lose VWAP, no closing prints, but we're also not decidedly taking out area highs. I have a bias that there is an area resistance here at 106. I was proven right vis-a-vis the 1130 and the 1135 candle, and then we've made lower highs subsequent. So I'm waiting for a 108 breakout for a long, or I'm waiting for a 95 penny breakdown for a short. So I will look to go both ways on this one, and I will exercise the same risk management parameters, whether I'm going long or whether I'm going short. So we're gonna keep an eye here on TPET, but right now it's in no man's land and not tradable under my system, Joey. Nothing is, sadly. I'm looking at everything here, and nothing is setting up in a way that I can take it, whether it's VG, STAK, RCAP, Battle, DFNS, which is losing in a hurry, even QRB, which we can call Turban, TMDE, trying to work its way back into the volume-weighted average price. This could be another short for you guys here. So TMDE, this has been a symphony of lower highs, and it has previously come back in and tested the volume-weighted average price as a resistance level, previously support. VWAP is a little above that 2 3/4. It looks more around 2 4/5, with the official high of the day being 299. But as you can see, we were all sorts of strong in the pre-market there, with the high in the pre-market being 470, Joey. Yeah. So substantially above the official high of the day.
All right, man. Right on. Yeah, this market's really strong here today, Los Polios. And I haven't seen Gore. I tried tagging you too, Gore. I tried tagging Los and Gore here. So, I mean, we had that one trade work for us on the short. And look at this out here right at 49.80. I'm like, oh, no, volume's really starting to kick in. And then a strong push to the top side. So as it went to breach this pivot, I'm like, let me get out of this ASAP before it actually hits my full-on stop. And with the big boys continuing to climb, like Apple is like Drake right now on one, 266.11 and continuing to climb. It was red for the past couple of sessions. So, I mean, Friday session really weak, and then now it's starting to recover the majority of that day. And it makes it so much more difficult to get the shorts involved with this specific underlying. So we'll keep an eye on it, but I can give it a couple more attempts, but I don't want to give back too much on what we have made from it, even though we're slowly starting to on that loss. And if I take another attempt, it's just patience is going to be extremely key. Oh, sorry, I'm not logged in. Tapped in. I heard Adara, so whenever we're ready, we can set it over to her. All right, let's go.
Yeah, just letting you guys know, Trump concluded his remarks here with regards to Iran and also the Medal of Honor ceremony. It's still happening, but he is no longer making remarks. It's now going to be the, I guess, Secretary of Defense and Defense Department personnel. I want to mention a couple other things, though. So for one, as the event ends, we now have comments from the spokesperson for the UN Secretary General. So I'll be listening to that in case there's anything of note here with regards to Iran. Furthermore, with regards to Iran, former Treasury Secretary and former Fed Chair Janet Yellen also commenting, saying that, in her opinion, the situation with Iran, which is leading to an increase in oil prices, puts the Fed even more on hold with rates. So she's arguing even less of a case for the Fed to cut rates, given the situation in Iran. Back to you.
Absolutely agree with that. Obviously, if one major thing happens, if we continue to see these ships get attacked in the Strait of Hormuz successfully, you're gonna see basically no ships go through there, or very few ships. Now, as I talked about in the morning rundown, there are other avenues to ship the oil through Saudi Arabia, through the UAE, but they by no means carry the same amount that can go through the Strait of Hormuz. Guys, we talked about this. 20% of the world's supply goes through there on a daily basis. So just think about that, taking 20% off, or not even 20. So say you can funnel 5% through the alternate routes. That still does put a bit of a lot of pressure, I would say, on the price. So that is something definitely to keep the lookout for. My bias was, Joey, that before this operation went through, as we know, President Trump, one eye on the market, one eye on geopolitics, said he was telling his generals, his war planners, that they probably had to have an answer for the Strait of Hormuz, that they had to dominate that area, for sure, because he knows what would ensue. Oil prices going up the yin-yang, with the midterms, just a few months away. You have to assume he's alive to that.
I think he's very alive to that situation. Canada's already thinking about jacking its oil prices, for sure. I mean, you don't want to go to the gas pump. Good thing we filled up on yesterday. But other than that, yeah, very valid points there, Cherif. We got all out of the TQQs right here, guys, and it's continuing to go. Apple is still on the move. SoFi, same thing. Coinbase, starting to form this bull flag here. I like that. We might use CoinL. Let's see what CoinL is up to. Oh, man, that is not a good look. I want to take one more attempt at the high here. We can give this a little bit more room because we're right at the peak on the Nas. See, that's the thing. If I miss this trade, then that's 3 strikes, you're out, right? So we'll be patient because the tape is still relatively strong. If we can catch the lower end of the range, I don't want to keep bouncing around from underlying to underlying here because I have 3 names: Netflix, TQQs, and then what else did I have on my radar? Silver. And I was looking at XOM and everything, but they're just not liquid enough. So we'll keep our eyes on this. As long as we form this base, then I like our chances. But it also could just be an all-day move higher, right? So a strong recovery in the overall market. And I wouldn't put it past it here that whatever we gain here today could just be wiped out tomorrow. All right, let's get involved. We're in it one more time. We'll give it to 50. What are we at? So only 10 cents worth of risk. If it decides to put in a new high, then so be it. We took our chances on this specific trade. If we get stopped out, then we're going to have to find a different underlying to trade here, Cherif.
All right, guys, continuing to watch TPET as it continues to hover at VWAP with lower highs, holding on for dear life here with the low wicks seem to be finding support at 95. I've put my breakdown short at 94 with an out. Exactly the same area where I would have gotten long, 108. So neither has triggered. Neither the long has triggered, neither the short has triggered. So let's see which way this ends up resolving. But I'm not taking the trade on TPET until my levels come in. I'm going to be insistent upon that. Continuing to watch here as VG breaks down. We'll talk more about VG when we get back from the big desk with Adara.
Looks like the UN Secretary General spokesperson's speech has just begun, so keep an eye on that. I actually have news not related to Iran. That's about Rumble here, RUM. A little bit of a pop here as CEO Chris Pavlovsky of Rumble announces on X that Rumble Cloud is planning on building a one-click deployment for OpenClaw. So nice OpenClaw-related catalyst here for RUM. Back to you.
Bro, you got to see some of the things that people are using. I don't want to just shout out OpenClaw, but Perplexity has their own. Brendo, what is Perplexity's called again? Open Computer? It's just called Open Computer? Just computer, Perplexity Computer. So if you're looking for a safer alternative to OpenClaw, and you don't want to run that on your computer. I know a lot of people are running OpenClaw on AWS and taking advantage of the security that AWS offers, but I think that there are still issues from my understanding. I'm by no means a tech guy. Perplexity has their own. You can run that now. I'm sure there are others as well. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that. But what I'm seeing here is a lot of very, very interesting stuff happening with that. So I'm going to be throwing my hat into that ring soon. Man, I was vibe coding all weekend. It felt fantastic. Dude, any idea you come up with, you can literally vibe code. You ever study Marxism? And Marxism, they talk about, reclaiming the means of production, the separation of the means of production and capital. This is reclaiming the means of production. If I have an idea, I can literally go and do it without having to pay a software developer or this person or that person. It really is empowering. It is empowering, man, and I love it. I love where we're at right now. Anyway, so continuing to watch TPET. Sorry, I'll digress like this all the time. Sorry, I do apologize. We'll continue to watch TPET here as it drops back down into the 96s, looking for a 94 break and drop. That's what I'm looking for here. It feels a lot more likely that this will be a loss of VWAP as opposed to a hold of VWAP. That's by no means guaranteed. Nothing is in trading, but I'm keeping my eye on that, and I'm going to be ready to execute there if and when it presents me with the opportunity. 2 New York cents. I am not sure if you are avoiding BATL. But brother, it's below VWAP. It's just, you know my rules, 2 New York. You've been here for a minute because of it being up a lot on the day, but I can see weakness now on it. I'm looking to short or reload. What is your take? Okay, so you're looking both ways. I love that. Let's have a look over here on Battle. It's still on the side chart, brother. It's up 69%, but by no means above the pre-market high or VWAP. So it fails those two requirements there. The pre-market high is that ugly, ugly topping tail candle that manifested at 7:10 a.m., the high of which is 12.99. So we're going to go ahead and throw in that level right there. So it reminds us of the pre-market high. VWAP, which is dynamic, of course, that'll be changing. 10 1/3 looks like 10.30 right now with the current price action, 9.43. So yeah, I see what you're saying. It looks like it's super weak below the 50 EMA on the 5, which is what that red line is. I'm not going to, this is not, the one that I'm looking for here short. I'm going to keep my eye definitely on TPET, but BATL looks like the better trade is behind it, at least for the longs. I would be interested, to New York, if it weaseled its way back into VWAP, let's say at 10 1/3, and then lost that area. I'd also be looking for a 10. Right, look at these two topping tail candles at 11.25 and 11.30, both of which rejected 10. Then we started bleeding our own blood down and losing now 9.5 quite decidedly. So there's that look as well. Also, I want to mention SABR. This is, I forget who mentioned this one to me in the chat, but thank you. Again, I do apologize for forgetting names. I'm not very good with that. But this one had a great day on Friday, and it is having yet a better day today. When we started out the day on Friday, this has been a multiple day runner. Geez Louise, look at this. Thursday, Friday, Monday. This has been really moving here. So we are up about 75% off Thursday's low on SABR. And $1.57 high. Let's see if it comes. Hey? Geez Louise, where are you looking? Where are you looking? Oh, just the expression? Yeah. Oh, I use that one all the time. Yeah. I love that one. Randy sending me some interesting stuff today, guys, about the likelihood that we may no longer see Cybertruck production. I think Randy, he's going to come in. He's going to come in hot right now.
Really?
Randy, we know that Cybertruck production is not given to us or the amount produced by Tesla, but we can make educated guesses, right?
I think so.
And based upon that, what can you tell us?
I don't see it lasting very long. They're selling less than 5,000 trucks per quarter. Does that justify that huge assembly plant? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
No.
He can play with the prices all he wants.
Exactly.
The margin doesn't cover the operating costs, the production costs. I don't see it lasting long. They're not selling. Price it how you want. They're not moving. The little sales thing that happened recently, that was probably just to move old inventory. We talked about this. Get some inventory off the balance sheet. But going forward, production,
right?
No, ain't happening. So if he wants to build robotaxis or build Optimus or build, I don't know, umbrellas, I don't know what he's going to build. But
exactly. Give us your opinion on what you think this could be going. Because if he stops the Cybertruck production, we better believe something is probably going to replace it.
I would think it's probably robotaxis. He wants that rollout. There's a lack of semi-production as well. They need to tool that up. There's a lot of standing orders for the semis. You need a little more space to build those than you do an Optimus.
And that's B2C, B2B.
Yes.
Right? Business to business rather than business to consumer. And you go after the people with the deeper pockets.
A lot more margin on semis than there is on a Optimus or even on a robotaxi. So I think there's going to be a play here. When it'll happen, who knows? It's Musk. But I don't see the Cybertruck on a long leash. I just don't. It doesn't make financial sense at all. And he's got other initiatives going on here, so give it time. But I'd place a bet on it.
I'd place a bet on that as well.
Okay.
Be quite frank with you. Like, I mean, it makes eminent sense. I don't see the Cybertruck moving in the numbers that he anticipated unless, one, they drop the price, and he can't, because then he'll lose money on it. So maybe, do you think we get a smaller version?
No. Nope.
I got to agree with that. I don't feel like we're going to get a smaller version.
Don't see it.
Cybertruck?
No,
Cybertruck,
there's no mini Cybertruck coming. There's no platform to build it on. No, I don't see it. No, I think it's a gone. It's a goner.
You think so, eh?
I think so.
Maybe another year or two?
Maybe not even that long.
Can I say something to you, though? Have you seen how well the Cybertruck prices have held up in this country? I can't find any of them under $100,000.
Right, but it's supply and demand. Is there a lot of supply out there? No.
Exactly.
Could you get a brand new one? Sure you could.
You could.
Does anybody really want one?
The demand is very small,
really.
man,
Yes,
especially
exactly.
here where we know people feel a certain way about him, right? I don't happen to subscribe to that way of thinking, but a lot of people do. And those reflect in the numbers.
I mean, the Teslas I don't know if it's that, Cherif, but maybe it's just from an economic standpoint too, right?
It's very expensive, bro.
Very expensive.
It's very expensive.
An economy that's not growing at all. You know what I mean? I think it's just a little bit tough.
It quickly became.
If you're going to spend $100,000 on a car, is it going to be a Cybertruck? I don't know.
It quickly became, and to Joe's point, a commodity-intended vehicle to a niche vehicle. And it's very niche now. And they're not selling in the numbers that anybody expected, including Elon. So, yeah, I'm going to say goodbye.
All right. Thanks, Randy, for coming in. I happen to agree with everything Randy just said there. Reluctantly, of course, because I do like the Cybertruck. I like it all blacked out with that shiny black. But
yeah, I seen a red one the other day.
You saw a red one?
Yeah, it didn't even look that good.
I've seen blue ones.
Blue?
Seen
Seen that blue one. I've seen that navy blue one.
Yeah, that
I've
was
seen
nice.
That guy around here.
Did we respond to 2 New York cents there? Because he supered. Thank you guys. Lately, I've been getting smashed around, but all I need is one green day to build momentum. I am down, but not out. I love to hear it. That is the kind of mentality to New York that you need to have as a trader. I hate to say short-term mentality, but your emotions for the losses have to be short-term. You cannot allow them to fester. It will make you gun-shy. If you're going to be gun-shy, you're not going to be a good trader. So shout out to 2 New York cents for that. Some more comments coming in there, guys. Cherif, I own an X and a Y, but refuse the cyber phrase. Shout out to Crouching Tiger Hidden Rally. So clearly you're a Tesla buff, but you draw the line there with the side. Brother, I can't get my old man to even, admit there's anything good about this car. He hates it so much, with so much vitriol, right? Like, he despises it. I could show it to him in black. I could show it to him in diamonds. He'd still hate it. But, that's just how some people feel, and you're not going to be able to change your opinion. Fabian?
Fabian doesn't like it.
What a wise man. Well, we know how you feel, Fabian, about that whole Tesla thing, but I respect your opinion, and there's lots of good that you help me see a lot by keeping me objective, so shout out to Fabian. Eddie, your old man is a wise man. Eddie, literally, that's what Fabian just said in my ear right now. And I know how you feel too, Eddie. Shout out to Eddie. Shout out to Eduardo. That's his real name there, my man. Joey, what are you looking at?
I mean, we got stopped out of the TQs, so that's it, man. We're not going to be taking any more attempts. We took this try here, and that was going to be our last strikeout. We had that nice move. It took us a while to get this one rolling, so 1 win, 3 losses on that front. And then now we're long some Bitcoin. Wow, I haven't traded this in quite some time. And it looks like it's going to sell off here. I have a trend line drawn as it's forming these higher lows. So let's see if this consolidative range, I'll give this one a couple attempts, right? Because I'm in on this consolidation. So anything south of that area, then we'll get out, and then maybe there'll be another opportunity to just re-engage, and maybe this is just going to be a bull flag, and then we can continue to the northeast on Bitcoin. This is an inverted hammer candle that we don't like, so we got to be cautious of that. We're currently about 8 cents out of the money, and it looks like it wants to bleed. I'll take a couple more losses and call it a day. I'm not going to hit full shutdown or anything along those lines. Last night, B-1 bomber struck Iranian missile capabilities. So yeah, I mean, there it goes.
B-1 Rockwell, baby. The B-1B Rockwell. Variable geometry aircraft, if you know, you know. It adjusts the wings. The geometry of the wing changes based on speed. This thing was designed to hug the ground. They designed this thing in the 70s and 80s, the B-1B. They changed the rules. So before, they couldn't fly high enough anymore to get away from Soviet missiles because the Soviet missiles were going into space. So like, all right, we're just gonna design an airplane to literally hug the ground below radar, and it'll have like ground following radar, so it'll just be able to adjust based on where the ground.
And it's unmanned too, is it?
No, it's not. It's manned. It's manned. But they completely changed the role of the aircraft.
I wonder how much that guy makes who's piloting the B-1.
Pardon me?
I wonder how much that guy makes piloting.
I don't know. That's like they don't use it like that anymore, Joey. But they did. That's what it was designed for. Now it's just like a bomber, right? Like a regular bomber. The B-1B is a beast, though. If you know, you know, guys. Love airplanes, love space. Let's keep an eye here, though, Assassino on TPET, because here comes 95. I've been patiently waiting for the short here on TPET. We're looking for that 95 loss, and we're looking to take this one down. I'm going to risk into 108, so we will risk here a little bit more than I typically would. I have to keep my stop at 108 because that's the area high. I do myself a disservice if I keep it below that. But look at it, find support immediately and move back above VWAP. But, you know, it's still putting in a lower high. So maybe it's just not time yet. And if it's not time, it's not time. That's fine. I'm going to continue to pack the patience here and wait for TPET to set up in the right way. I'm looking short on TPET, guys, unless and until it can clear 108 as a high, $1.08. If it clears 108 as a high on a closing basis, we're looking long. Simple as that. So those are my options right now as I continue to watch others. Case in point, STAK. Remember how quickly this one bled its own blood after making a 96 penny move and then coming in, and there was certainly buying here at around 63 to 64 pennies. And here we are back into 73, trying to work its way back into the volume weighted average price at 75. This could be also an opportunity for the shorts if it rejects that 75 penny area, as we see a lot. A VWAP, you know, featuring both a support and resistance. We talk about it more as support because I'm only usually going long, but now we're going to be looking a little different. So that's what we're keeping an eye on here. STAK, TPET, and what was this one again? VG, but this one not really setting up for me, Joey. So we'll pack the patience there.
Good stuff. All right, guys. So, yeah, I mean, here we go. We're sitting in this trade, couple of pennies, OTM. Let's see if we get this breakout. But as soon as it breaks 99, 39 and 30s, then we'll have to look to reassess this situation. I told you a couple more attempts, and I'm not going to take too big of a loss here to start the month, that's for sure. So we'll try to keep it as small. If not, we'll obviously look into recover and put on some good quality opportunities. I do like this bull flag that it's forming here on the 5 and the 10-minute time frame. So a test of the high of the day and then a breach of that would be absolutely wicked. The overall market is strong, so we'll rock and roll on that front. If not, then, hey, just one of those sessions. We can go back, and I'll pull this up here. It wasn't too bad. I didn't finish as hot as I would like on the month, but that's okay. We'll finish it green. We'll take that. I mean, small wins, but nothing substantial or to write home about. Just from an accuracy standpoint, it wasn't horrible. November 25, we don't want that. What do we got here? So in the month of February, here it is. It's just right. You want to start off hot. So we have what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screen days, 20 sessions, a couple of them off. So we go 14 for 6. I mean, if that's your sporting record, you're a pretty good team regardless. But we went on a nice 5-day to start the beginning of the month and 3-day here. And then it's just average of these 2 red days a week that I'm trying to kind of sway away from. But it's just how it is, man. Get that down to 1. That'd be really nice. But keeping those losses, a couple big ones that did wipe out some of the gains. But aside from that, not too bad. 14 for 6 on the month, and we'll gladly be happy with that one. So
that's actually excellent.
It's all right, man. We always look to do a little bit better. We're going to probably finish this off here. If this trade doesn't work out and this bull flag doesn't work, then we'll take one more attempt on it there, Cherif. We're not going to hold on to it for too long. You can see that we're almost 8 cents out of the money as we're starting to break down, and now we've officially broken trend. So you might have some of the sellers stepping in on the backside of this. So we'll be patient and wait to see 20s. We'll just call it quits, and then maybe sit on our hands and keep this loss. So I know we're going to be starting the news soon, so that'll keep me distracted and away from punching keys.
I just want to point out some other names that I don't typically trade, but ones that I definitely watch for the swings and for the long term. Coherent, COHR, having itself a day today. 14.5% on this $55 billion market cap name, trying to work its way in the $300 with a 297.5 high. This is the daily here on COHR, so you can see it's breaking out and has been breaking out. Very aggressive. In case you don't know what Coherent does, they specialize in materials, networking, lasers, with vertically integrated manufacturing that develops and manufactures and markets engineered materials, optoelectronic components and devices, COHR, optics, right? We've been talking about that. Take a look at LITE. I was just telling Neil, look at this. Another rocket ship on the day, up about 10%. Photonics, right? We've been talking about some of the other possible AI plays. Talk about the energy all the time. We talked about the generators with Caterpillar, Cummins, etc. There's so many different angles in the AI stack that you can take. Photonics having its moment in the sun. It's been having its moment in the sun. Joey, look at this. From the January 20th low on LIT to today's high, this thing is up 155%. This is not a small company, guys. This is a $55 billion name, right? It's moving like a dang small cap. LITE, COHR, they're not exactly the same. They do deal with partially different things, but photonics seems to be one of the main things right now we keep an eye on. So I want to show you that, even though obviously won't be trading it intraday. I still have nothing, guys. I do apologize for not being in a trade, but I just will not take one until a setup comes in. And as you can see here, really nothing setting up. My eye has been on TPET all morning. The only trade we've had was a very good winner on DFNS, and then basically it bled its own blood right when we got out. We got out like a 263 or a 268 high, and then it's lost $2. It's lost the entire trend here. So nothing really to say about that one. My focus will continue to remain on TPET for a possible either long or short. I do want to bring your attention to BATL battle, because this one, I have to use this pun. This one is battling back into that $10 name and looking to come into that volume weighted average price. It is being buoyed by higher lows. So that 1025 area could be the line in the sand. However, the line in the sand, at least so far since we lost VWAP, has been $10. So, and you can see that as evidenced by, of course, the 2 topping tail candles that breach 10, but then lose it quite quickly at 1125, at 1130. So BATL also in focus for a possible short off 10.25, but nothing else for me, guys. STAK as well. We talked about this one coming back into 75 pennies for a possible short there. It has lost VWAP now, trying to reclaim it from the south side. It doesn't look like it's doing it quite yet. So that is another look for the small cap traders there. And then Turbine continuing to bleed its own blood here. It could be on the receiving end of a loss of $1, right? Just got back into VWAP at $1.28, and look at it, barely holding on to $1.10 with the bottoming tail candles, defending that dollar for now. But I don't have anything positive to say about this. In fact, it looks like a head and shoulders pattern waiting to form here, with maybe a loss of $1 or $1.05 really being the neckline there on TURB. But Nothing else for me, Joey, to be quite honest here, and I hate to keep saying that, but I just won't take trades unless they're setting up.
One of those days. All right, I got someone in the chat is like, hey, why is an individual blocked? So I'm just inquiring about that right now. Fabian, I sent you a message. I know
you probably talked smack.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a part of it, but I mean, you should only be blocked for so long, not indefinitely. So I'll see what we got going on. Fabian, I sent you a message. Can you look into this? I mean, if you've been blocked for a specific reason, there's nothing that I can do. If there was a mistake, we can definitely get that cleared up. One more attempt here on Bitcoin as it's continuing to sell, and that's not too good of a look. I added a little bit more shares here on this bounce back into the supply zone. Let's see if it's going to work out for us. What I want you to do, Fabian, the ad is blocked. Can you look why?
Can I tell you how hard it is to unblock somebody?
Yeah, I know you asked me, remember the individual?
It's very difficult.
Is
yeah,
it?
I did everything that I could, and I couldn't figure out how to do it.
No, you got to ask for me because she goes into the thing and then
Fabian showed me exactly where to go and do it.
Really?
It was very difficult, yeah.
Okay, so I think at that point, you may as well just make a new account, maybe? Right? Or just do whatever you can on that front. So, yeah, we'll see. There goes Bitcoin to the downside. This is why I haven't been trading this thing as of late. I'm going to punch out here momentarily, and then I'm just going to shut it down for the remainder of the session. I know there's an hour and a bit left, but that's the narrative, and I don't want to take any more loss to start the month. It's been a little bit more tricky on today's session for the kid, and oh, wow, okay, this is really selling here now. Yeah, not good. Good stuff, Bitcoin. No continuation right there. Yeah, we're going to get that pullback to view up. All right, I got to pull the chute here, and that's it. Frustrating. All right, USA. There it goes. That's it. I'm going to take a sip of water. That will cool you down for sure.
Sir.
Hydration Nation, and let's shut the trading down for today. I'm not shut down, by the way. I just don't want to get into that realm, and I don't want to get tilted either because I'm on the precipice, as Cherif would like to say, of absolutely losing.
How was the weekend, brother?
It was relaxed, man.
Yeah?
Just go out. Just went out, walked Milo, went on some longer walks. My body was beat up after those walks because I haven't gone on them.
Oh, Milo was beat up. Yeah. Okay.
No, I was.
You were beat because it's been a minute.
I don't go. Yeah, I didn't. So
my body
was
you guys don't
tired.
see him walking a lot, but he is really improving in how he's walking.
Bro, I'm on the bike every day for 25 minutes. I'm doing my exercises.
You're doing the work, eh?
Yeah, yeah. So that's what we got to do. So
good job, bro.
I'll say one thing. This surgery, I remember. My knee felt a lot less unstable on the first time around. This time around, it feels significantly stronger. Good. They also did an additional procedure on it too. That's why I was more.
Because they were correcting it, correct?
Well, I tore everything again, but they did an additional like stabilizing procedure on the outside of my leg to make it like stronger.
Hey,
so
this guy's gonna be dancing around those guys on the rink real soon here, man.
I'm nervous to play again.
Yeah, just take your time, bro. Just think about it, man. You know, longevity here is the key, right? It's not about one-offs. Fear Go I3X, bro. Cherif is fasting. You can't drink water next to him. What do you mean? I'm not fasting, bro. He's not fasting. I'm not fasting. Neither of us is fasting, man. Yeah. I'm eating. I ate my eggs this morning.
Drinking water.
All 12 of those bad boys. Fear, he's trolling us. Okay, all right, bro. Let's look at a new one over here. An individual in the chat was telling me to look at HYMC, not really a small cap gapper, but a decent day, up 5%, $4.25 billion market cap. I was telling them, look, this looks fantastic if you're looking for that break of that 53.50 high. So you're getting here some support. My concern about HYMC here, brother, is area high, lower high, and lower high. All the while, look at that 52 to $51.50 area, 51.75 actually. It's putting in some lower highs that you need to be alive to as well, because this one could, manifest as a flat bottom break. The ticker on this, guys, I do apologize, is HYMC, Highcroft Mining. The mining names are having a day. MP's up 7.5. Let's see where USAR is up. USAR is up 9.75. USAR looks really good. Okay, so we're gonna have to put some mineral names here. We're gonna take off DFNS. We're gonna put on USAR. Look, this is not a small cap gapper anymore, USAR that is, but it looks better than the chart on HYMC. This is the chart of USAR, and this has been an obvious area of support here at the 20 EMA on the 5. Let's take a look. Deeper retracement, 20-period hold. Deeper retracement, 20-period hold. I'm gonna repeat myself one more time. Deeper retracement, 20-period hold. Into $21 as the high. This thing closed out at $18.90 on Friday, so a great move to the tune of 10%. You know, the shallower retracements when it's trending seem to be finding support at the 10 EMA, but the deeper retracements are all defending that 20 EMA on the 5. The 20 EMA on the 5, guys, is the yellow line. Sorry, I didn't mention that. So USAR in focus here for those who are interested in trading the materials names. Let me just throw that in on the side chart. I need to have a minerals or a metals chart here, Joey, because there's a lot of these names now, and I just don't want to be myopic and only looking at MP because I'm involved with that one. So yeah, I could be interested here because we are right now, we are at the 20. Look at this. So we got into $21, and now we're basically right back into that 20 moving average. Let's load up USAR and take a gander at what the level 2 looks like. What's the spread? What's the situation? We've got a 2-penny spread on a 20-ish dollar name. That's quite reasonable. Tightening up into 1. Continuing to watch here. Do we get a move below the 20? We're kind of below it right now. But how quickly do we get that retracement back up? And do we make a new 5-minute candle to make a new high? So here's the levels. The previous 5-minute candle is almost invisible. Look at this. Barely any distance between the high and the low. 20.75 high, 20.73 low. That's kind of what I meant by almost no distance there. This candle, opening print, the high 20.73, low 69. So we're getting really tight ranges here. What I'm looking for is a move back above a very green candle to kind of show us that the buyers are stepping in, and then we'll buy with the this candle, the 1240. Why am I looking at the 3 here? Look at the 5, my bad. Oh, that's finding support at the 3, eh? Okay, interesting. Okay, so let's keep the 3 on here because I thought this was the 5-minute chart. This ended up being the 3. Okay, so I'm going to keep an eye on this one. USAR, interesting here on the 3. Yeah, I'm gonna wait, guys. A move back maybe above into the 12 low 80s, mid 80s probably gets me back into the trade with this current candle low, that 20.69 probably as my stop. But I'm going to need to see a bit more here on USAR.
All right, good stuff. No, I'm just going over the note, guys. I mentioned that. I mean, we have an hour and 10 minutes. We're going to start the news in 10 minutes. So that's it for me. I was messaging somebody. I was like, yeah, trust me, it's very, very difficult to kind of keep that composure. But that's what we have to do. I can't be going gung-ho. And I mentioned, hey, man, you get frustrated, write it down. Type it out. You know what I mean? Just let all that frustration go from pen to paper, and it helps you out a little bit. I'll go over what you guys want to take a look at. So I'm getting some names already. We're going to take a look at BURU. Let me move this so I don't have to keep on switching, considering we won't be trading anymore. BURU. Let's see. I've never even really heard of this name. New Bureau Inc. Where is this located on? Liquidity issues. You can see that this thing is 27 cents, but a 50% drop in an intraday session. So that's a tough look. This is definitely Cherif's world, and I don't even know if he would get involved in this on the daily. It was halted. It was halted for multiple days, and then it just opens up and flushes down. Oh, I think Benner was talking to me about this one. BURU. Other than that, tough look here. We don't typically trade these quarter names or anything like. It did a reverse split as well. It was reverse. 69. Yeah, thank you very much for that. Palantir, how have you been performing for the rest of the day? A nice continuous grind and channel higher, so not too bad. A bounce off of those lows. And this is another name that was hit pretty hefty, down 40% off of those highs. That's not fun whatsoever. And same with Robinhood. We're still down more than 50%, I think, at this point, 155. 48% to be exact. So a really tough look in Robinhood. Some good time to maybe acquire a little bit. But at the break of 70, you want to get out of Dodge on that one, even though it's 9 points away. Moving forward, we'll go through a couple names. Make sure you guys get those votes in. LITE, Cherif. I heard Cherif talking about this one here earlier today. It's been monster, putting in a new all-time high. But this is a $700 name, Cherif. Almost $800 at this point. Nice breakthrough the volume weighted average price. So nice trading there. Now gold, what have you been up to 486, a continuous grind higher, especially after those extreme volatile days that we had back in early February, but moving to the south side here. And that's how I feel about silver. I just don't think it's in play. I haven't been trading it well outside of this. Right? Like when we were grinding high, I had about a solid month where I was just catching the trend, going higher. But all up in here, no go. It has not been good. So we're going to probably eliminate that. And sure enough, I shut myself down here on IBIT, just the point I'm like, you know what, we're not going to get into that mode where we're tilted and then you have a bad rest of the day. I'm not going to allow the market to win that way today. Coin still forming that consolidated base, of bull flag. Let's see if it's going to break out. It's going to need Bitcoin to climb higher. But COIN-L, this is a 2x long ETF. Going all the way from $52 to $8. That's an 84% decrease.
All right, guys, I worked into USAR. It's going to be a super tight stop. As I mentioned, that candle on the 3 has a low of 2069. We're in at 73. It's going to have to hold that level because the trade is here, a pullback into the 20. If the 20 doesn't hold, it's irrational for me to stay into the trade. That's simple. Now, there is, of course, the possibility that I get wicked out and it goes along its merry way. And that's fine. So that's what we're going to risk for here. So we're in USAR, looking for a move to try to test that $21 level again, and we'll see what we get there. Okay, in the 78 it goes. Let's see if it can work into the 80s. It's below the 10 EMA right now, but it's been below the 10 EMA multiple times on the 3-minute chart, showing 78 on the ask, 76 on the bid. It's been a decent spread. I want to say 2 pennies at the most. Let's see what we can kind of get on this one. Separately, I'm continuing to watch TPET for something. A long, a short, as I mentioned, short below 94, long above 108, neither of which has come in. So really unsure what to think about this one, but I don't need to, because I don't need to think about it. Because quite frankly, I'm not going to think about it unless the levels come in. Not going to expend any mental energy on this one unless I see exactly what I like there. So continuing to watch in USAR here, and I'm looking for as follows. 2096 is my 2R, basically 2-to-1 risk to reward, and 3-to-1 takes me up to 2105. 2105 is exactly the high of the day, and I didn't create it like that, but that is kind of my that just is a happy accident. So let's see if USAR can work back into the highs, and I'll be a very, very happy trader if it does, assuming, of course, I don't get stopped out before it does. So that is what we're looking at there. I want to mention Sabre as well. Sabre's making a move here into the high of the day, 157, light on volume, but the higher lows are still very much intact on SABR. What is this thing up? It's up 31 2/3, so good look there on Sabre. And I want to also mention Battle. BATL, yep, we were biased against this one. At 10, it cleared 10, and now it's at that key area of technical resistance. I am talking, of course, about the volume weighted average price at 10.25. It's right there right now. BATL could be a short here off the volume weighted average price. I don't have shorts for this one, so I won't be executing. Neil's not at his desk as well, so we're going to pack the patience here, Joey. We're looking for a move on USAR, and we're also keeping an eye on TPET.
Good stuff, brother. Let's see what we got. Super chat.
Joe.
You should use your Atlanta to get back to a positive mindset for trading, says Danny Boy. No, that's okay. Thanks for the super chat, though. I mean, I'm actually have a very positive mindset. I'm coming to the realization that today is not my day, and I want to save more of it for tomorrow. You don't always have to keep, if you're, like, the thing is with trading is I'm sick of hearing the narrative on the fact is like, oh, just keep going, but then eventually you dig yourself a hole. If you know yourself well enough, you know when to stop, and that's exactly what I'm doing. right? I just know when to stop. I've taken longs, I've taken shorts, and unfortunately they haven't worked for me, so I'm gonna stop. Why? Because I have 4 days left in the week, and if I have a good day every day for the rest of the week, I don't wanna have too big of a loss here today, all right? That's just the reality of trading. You don't always have to do the same thing over and over again. All right, moving forward, if there's anything else, yeah, Netflix is really strong today, guys. We talked about this not too long ago. You put in a new high. I thought you would see a little bit of a pullback, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Trendline broken on the 26th or 25th of February, hasn't looked back. Look at $74. That's a substantial move higher, 29%, right? Just like that. As soon as the bidding war is over, that's it. We're out of it. We're starting to climb higher, and I think we're going to see a big-time recovery. What was the stock split day? Here it is, $110. So we're like 13 points away from that stock split, and then with that being said, $133 a high. So now only about 30% off of that specific area. So not too bad of a look whatsoever in Netflix. Has the cybersecurity name started to recover?
A little bit.
Did they?
They're way off the highs.
You would think, yeah, they're big time
Way
off the
off,
highs.
yeah.
You would think what was going on over the weekend, you would see a little bit more of a bounce in these, Cherif, considering it's like, hey, if we're not going to get our physical stuff, we're going to get our physical stuff blown out of the water. Maybe we'll protect our cybersecurity here. But anyways, aside from that, CrowdStrike forming that bull flag, not too bad of a look whatsoever. Bull, what have you been up to? $6 and change, not too good. Has Bitcoin recovered? Okay, so somewhat, but you're running into this bull flag low. You get the breakdown. Now that's acting as current resistance. I really want to know what Walmart has been up to. Walmart, ooh, not too good of a look in the staples. With that being said, guys, you know what time it is. As soon as I hear staples, I have to pull it up, and we're going to take a look at some of the top performing sectors here today. Energy sector. Who would have guessed it? Up 1.4% today. Industrial sitting in that second place. We like that. Obviously, everything to do with the AI build-out. I like what Michael Noss had to say this morning. And then the tech sector up 0.6%. Everything else in the red. Comms down 0.1%. Financials 0.15. The real estate a quarter. The utilities a third. Materials 0.5%. Consumer staples down 1%. Healthcare down 1%. And consumer discretionary down 1 1/5. Now, as for earnings, is there anything exciting this week? I mean, we are in the tail end. Oh, okay.
What happened?
So we like this, Cherif.
Okay.
On Tuesday, after the bell, we have CrowdStrike. Then we have GitLab as well. That's going to be interesting. But more of the discretionary aspect here, some staples, Target reporting Tuesday before the open. Best Buy, C Corp as well, AutoZone, just in case if anyone was curious about that one. And then ON, very interesting stuff. And Abercrombie & Fitch, Broadcom on Wednesday after the bell, Rigetti, Okta, Webull, American Eagle, so not too bad of a look there on Wednesday. And then Marvell and Costco on Thursday after the close.
Yeah, I've been watching American Eagle, looking at weaseling back in. It's just...
Did it pull back deeply or
not
no?
that deeply, bro.
Okay,
like it's at 24, 23, 25. The best day it'll have 26.
Yeah.
But it hasn't made any.
Is that what our bet was at? $26?
26, yeah.
Wow. And we were talking about that at like $13 or something, wasn't it? It was like 18. What was it? What?
Like single digits. Like 8, 9.
Really?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yes, sir. Here is AEO, guys. Let's take a quick look. Bleed $23 right now, daily. Look at this, Joey. But it's done this before. Like, look, remember the initial breakout?
Yeah,
so this is where we were talking about it. We were talking about like in this area here, flat top break, and then it gave back everything. And you were dancing. You were like, ha, ha.
Yeah, I was
right? Because you were
dancing, but then I
pumped
knew I
about
was in
this,
trouble,
right? $14. And then it held. That's what I was looking for there, the holding of the breakout area.
Yeah.
And it's kind of doing the same thing here. Do you think it comes back, maybe test that $20 area? Because that was a breakout,
man.
right?
It's crazy because we talk about the consumer weakening, but you look at all these retail names and they're all pretty strong. Right? Like, wouldn't that be a solid symbol of like some strength within the consumer?
It is.
People buying.
Absolutely.
Like,
I would say so.
in
Certain categories.
Right there.
Oh, yeah, well, it's okay. It's okay. Hangry. Well, your boy won it over here. Well, yeah, well. But your boy Joey Opsh as well was already up, to be fair to him.
Well, now we're
up.
break even because
Yes,
essentially,
sir.
like, you paid me the exact same amount that I paid you.
Yeah, because I went and found the most expensive jeans.
Yeah.
Which, ironically enough,
But
were the same price.
You just pocketed that. But did you buy any equities with it at least, or?
I bought jeans.
I know,
but I didn't buy any American Eagle jeans.
All right. I was gonna say I know what you did with it.
Dude, I haven't even been in American Eagle in a while. Like I haven't even walked into the store.
Tell you, last time I was in the mall was I don't even.
I
think
go to the mall
Christmas.
because I take my parents on the weekend.
Do you? Did you walk around Yorkdale?
Yorkdale. We go to Fairview. We go to Vaughan Mills sometimes.
Do you ever walk around Pacific Mall?
I haven't been, bro. Pacific Mall is one of my favorites.
I haven't been there in probably
all the bootleg
like 15
stuff from
years.
there. All the bootleg stuff. All right, let's get down to work, baby. We're going to start the news. It is 1 o'clock. Let's talk about oil because USO is up big, 4.5%, but it is down 2% since the bell rang, so giving back a little bit here. Let's talk about what's going on. You probably already know. Oil spiked after continued U.S. and Israeli military strikes on Iran over the weekend. President Trump said the operation, which is being called Operation Epic Fury, is going to continue until their objectives are achieved. We heard, as long as 3 to 4 weeks. Now I'm hearing as long as 5. We'll have to wait and see. And then there was additional expansions of the belligerencies that are happening right now, with Hezbollah also getting involved with causing a response by Israel. So Lebanon getting hit as well. And then we've obviously seen other attacks on Arab countries. The point is, though, about oil here is that the Strait of Hormuz now is in focus, as we kept telling you would be before this whole thing happened. And the reason it's important, Joey, is because 13 to 15 million barrels per day, about 20% of the global oil supply, flows through the Strait of Hormuz. And you have people thinking because of that, oil will probably hang around $80 a barrel for a while. We'll have to wait and see. Full closure of the strait is seen as unlikely because of the U.S.-Israeli air superiority in the area and military superiority, let's be honest about it. The bigger risk, though, is what we're already seeing. Sporadic vessel attacks, possibly by the Houthis, possibly by the Iranians themselves using drones and missiles. It's already happening. I think Qadira reported that a tanker was on fire. That's obviously going to cause, concerns in the area, and that's what we're talking about here. 3 tankers already on the weekend were hit, with Asian, apparently, refiners having the most exposure here. American refiners are obviously getting some oil now from Venezuela, Canada, etc. So they're a bit more shielded. The Asian refineries get most of their supply directly through Asia, through the Strait of Hormuz. Alternative routes do exist, as I spoke about this morning on the morning show. Oman and the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, can bypass the strait partially. Saudi Arabia also has that east-west pipeline vis-a-vis the Red Sea, which could also help. Then you go through, of course, the Suez Canal. But even with these contingency routes, 10 million barrels a day could remain vulnerable. And if the infrastructure is hit directly, which we already saw in Saudi Arabia with some of these Iranian drones, we could see a price spike and, let's say, up to $100. President Trump is suggesting this thing could last 4 to 5 weeks, Joey, so we're probably going to have to deal with that oil headline risk for a little while.
Yeah, I think so. As you mentioned, multiple good points. There's not very many other routes that they can take. With such a large supply of the oil having to pass through that narrow strait, it's definitely going to have an effect on the oil names. As you can see, energy sector is up 1.4% today. Hopefully, the faster it gets dealt with. I mean, I don't know what the primary objective is there, Cherif, considering they already took out the leader. So what else do you really have to do? Maybe destroy some more of their military bases, anything along those lines. I'm not going to get too deep into that. But energy, you're seeing a pop in that. It was up 1.4% not too long ago. I think this continues to move. Occidental Petroleum, Oxy, was up today as well. So that wasn't a horrible look. A big gap up on OXY from the daily. But see, this is the narrative with these oil names, is that you get these strong moves, but then the gap eventually gets filled on Occidental Petroleum.
Let's go on to the next one. Defense stocks also obviously getting a nice move here. Let's bring in the defense watch list and see what kind of names we got and what kind of moves they're making here. Everything is making a move here on my defense watch list except Neil's AVAV, which is down 20% on the day. You got LMT up 2%.
HII, which is Huntington Ingalls, up 1 3/4. You got TXT up 1 2/3. That's of course Textron. You got Palantir up almost 7%. Northrop Grumman up 4 1/4. Raytheon 4 1/5. Got LHX, which is, what's it called? L3 Harris up 2.9%. So you have a bunch of names all moving nicely, but a little bit, we'll have to wait and see whether they continue. But this obviously it makes sense with what's going on here. Defense stocks have already posted strong multi-year gains amid the rising geopolitical tensions. And we already know, for example, just like to bring back that watch list in, take a look at what these things are up year to date. LMT up almost 40%, 38 and change. HII, 33 1/4. You got, what's it called? Northrop up 32.5. RTX up 15. These are all year to date numbers. L3 Harris up 27 2/3. So they've already made a move before this thing happened. The escalation reinforces, though, the long-term structural spending tailwinds behind some of these military defense names, as we see NATO countries really increasing the percentage of GDP that they're spending on defense. For example, Canada up to now to 2% or 2.5%. They're going to go to 4%, I believe, by the end of the decade. That's a lot of money, man. And I'm not just trying to isolate Canada, but this is a NATO thing, and you got to assume
Canada needed it. Needs to do
But let's
that.
cut more crap, Joey. Japan is rearming. Germany is rearming, right?
Yeah.
Germany is rearming.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, like, there's going to be a lot of countries here, both NATO and outside NATO, they're going to be rearming. So we're going to have probably a long-term tailwind. The key question mark, though, is for these names, at least in the short term, how long does the conflict last?
Yeah.
And I want to put one more question to you.
Yeah.
We hear a lot about dwindling supplies of armament, rockets, missiles, because they've been giving some out as well. They haven't been building as much. We're probably going to need to replenish.
You're talking about the United States.
Yeah. You're going to need to
exactly.
replenish everything they're using, so there could be more tailwind.
So that's the thing, right? I was just reading, so that's putting a little bit of weight on the budget. It's not making it easy, because once you use all of these, what do you want to do? You want to restockpile everything.
Right away.
You want to just obviously use all of it and then not have any for the future. Yeah, we'll take a look at silver there momentarily. Take a look at silver. Is there a floor for me? Fabian, how are you going to pull up your own thing there? Yeah, we'll take a look there momentarily. No, but in all seriousness,
what a guy, eh?
If Donald Trump continues on this trajectory, I wouldn't be surprised to see these defense names continue to climb. The guy's been in Venezuela. Now he's just doing whatever he's doing in Iran. Where's the next thing? I don't know, man. This guy's playing chess when it seems like everyone else is playing checkers at this point.
Let's go on. Talk about gold. Joey, gold up today only 0.5%, down 0.75% since the bell rang. Silver is getting clipped, 6.5%. We'll talk more about gold when we get back from Adira.
Yeah, just be aware here. I'm seeing right now some headlines suggesting that the U.S. Appeals Court has returned jurisdiction over the tariff lawsuits to the trade court to determine next steps. So it looks like, I guess, jurisdiction here going to trade court, U.S. Appeals Court saying, no, thank you, more or less. We're going to have to wait and see what the next steps are for these, I guess, tariff lawsuits and whether or not the U.S. will have to repay these tariffs. Back to you.
Thank you very much. TPET is making a move here. So I'm keeping my eye out on TPET. I was looking long and short. Here it comes into 104. I'm looking for a taking of 108 before I get long. It's at 104 right now. Let's see what this one does. It keeps defending, though, the volume weighted average price. And in my humble submission, the longer it does this defense at VWAP, and it shows you very clearly the buyers are stepping in there, I think the more bullish it becomes. But it's going to have to take out key levels before we can really see what's to come next. Let's talk about gold. As I mentioned, they did jump about 2% in the pre after, of course, the belligerencies in the Middle East and the broader regional conflict. It hit a record, guys. At least at the time of the writing of this article, it could be different now. $5,554.82 was up 2.3%. The futures did rise, so that was a spot. The futures price rose 3.1% up to 54.1140, signaling, of course, strong institutional demand for protection. Markets are rotating into safe haven assets while equities and, these other risk-sensitive instruments are seeing pressure. That has changed a little bit since the bell rang, though. Analysts note the escalation is reinforcing portfolio hedging behavior amid geopolitical uncertainty.
probably stands to reason that one would do that. Iran, as we know, retaliated on Gulf cities, right? Whether it's Bahrain, Qatar, Dubai, they all, UAE, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, they all got clipped, right? Which is expanding the military action now. And Lebanon also got hit yesterday because of Hezbollah. My understanding is Qatar has now joined with U.S. and Israeli forces in attacking Iran. We'll have to see if Saudi Arabia throws their hat into that ring. I was telling my old man yesterday, I'm like, it probably behooves Saudi Arabia, who's spending up the wazoo on military equipment, to actually get real-life experience with these new purchases, because they have very little in the way of actual fighting experience aside from fighting the Houthis, which was more guerrilla-style tactics. Anyway, I digress. We go to Adara here for a second.
I just want to let you guys know this story is less for this kind of stock I'm going to mention specifically and more for what it kind of means overall for the market and for trends going forward here. So I'm seeing reports that SoftBank's PayPay is putting their IPO roadshow on hold after the Iran attacks. That's according to two sources. They're going to be assessing this IPO roadshow relaunch on a day-to-day basis. Now, for what it's worth, PayPay, which again, backed by SoftBank, Visa was reportedly a key investor, that was going to be happening this month in March of 2026, target valuation of $14 billion. Now, we know some other IPOs on watch, of course, include the SpaceX IPO. So if IPOs are getting put on hold due to concerns about Iran, that could be just a theme to watch out for going forward here. I'm also seeing a headline on IONQ, no move here, but I guess announcement that computing with trapped ions is here. That's an announcement from Quantinuum. So I guess competitor here of IONQ, no movement on this stock, though. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Guys, yes, BATL making the move. Shout out to Chuck of all trades. Great look there for you, brother. Let's see if this one continues up. BATL, I think, is at 10.5, 1047, clearing the volume weighted average price. Not by all that much, but it is above it. So let's just be honest here. Great move, and a great move above 10. Kill it, my man. Deep Cheeks AI. $2 super chat. Trump, quote, board of peace. All right, I know you're trying to duck that up there. All right, Los Palos Hermanos. Those Iranian... Come on, bro. Come on. I'm not reading that out. I'm not reading that out. Man.
Who say what?
Your boy Los Palos there. He's a joker. I like him, but I'm not reading that out. Joey, investors, they're going to be keeping an eye on labor data this week, including the ADP employment, the non-farm payrolls, all of which could impact rate expectations and dollar direction. We know the dollar and gold typically, not always, typically inversely correlated, which could have, of course, an effect on the gold price.
Absolutely. And I mean, after all, what we've experienced over the weekend, an ongoing battle, you're going to see a little bit of a spike here in the precious metals. GLD now at one point was down substantially. I mean, we're talking about 17%. Now we're only 5% off of those highs. I think gold is going to make that push. You have countries stockpiling it, hedging against the United States dollar, and I think this is going to add a little bit more fuel to that fire.
The JETS ETF was down way lower than it is right now. The JETS ETF only down 2.25. Some of the outlying names in the world of airlines, JetBlue down almost 5. American Airlines is down 4. Delta is down 2 1/3. United down 2 3/4. Southwest down 1.5. They're all negative, but they're definitely off lows, and you can always see that on my watch list. When you see this column red and the immediate column beside it green, that means it's up since the bell rang. So this is change percentage since open, and that's change percentage, which means what it is up or down from 4 a.m. when the pre-market starts. Let's talk about this one. Delta suspended flights between JFK and Tel Aviv through March 8th to 9th. UAL doing the same thing. No flights to Tel Aviv through March 6th. They also canceled Dubai flights to March 4th. American scrapped at Philadelphia to Doha to March 4th, and then the Iranian airspace, the Kuwaiti airspace, the Bahraini airspace, Iraqi airspace all remains closed, which means these things gotta fly around it if they were gonna cut through it, which means more jet fuel spent, of course. Middle Eastern carriers also canceling flights. Emirates, Etihad, Qatar, all canceled multiple routes. Nearly 2,400 flights were canceled yesterday alone, with the Dubai airport getting clipped. Who's seen the bombings
and the fires and everything that under the Dubai airport there. Air India also cut flights to US and Europe. British Airways, Lufthansa, also not flying to Tel Aviv, Bahrain, Tehran, UAE, all these areas, Joey, around the epicenter.
Yeah, you're not flying east right now, I don't think.
You're not flying east,
You're not
Joey.
flying east. You go west, but other than that, I mean, you have this large array of flights being canceled, but if it was as bad as we think it were, I mean, they're going to be closed and canceled for some time, but I think at some point we'll recover. They'll slowly start to implement these flights once again, because if it was really bad, Cherif, I think that we would see continuous selling here in the Jets ETF, so that's going to have all the UALs, the AALs, the LUVs, and everything along the Alaska Airlines. I think you'd see a continuation in this selling, but if we gap down on this morning session in the pre-market right at that open, and then we recover and fill most of that gap back up.
SLV coming into a very important level, Fabian. This is the $80 level that we triple bottomed in the early trading from 925 until 940. It's been a very clear level of resistance on the day. It was support, and then it's been I think it's been obviously a resistance level longer than it was support earlier on. So watch out for SLV. It's moving into the $80 area, and it's got some higher lows as a tailwind here. So watch out here. It could be another move or a retracement maybe into 81, where VWAP is at around 81 on SLV. So keep your eye on that. Shout out to Fabian. Shout out to Assassino. SLV still down, guys, 5.92%.
You hear that one there?
Bro, I always get goosebumps.
Yeah, you get goosebumps. Are you going to watch the live action?
Man, I haven't watched that in a minute.
No, the movie coming out, the live action.
out?
Yeah.
You're lying.
Why would I lie?
Summertime? It's gonna be a summer blockbuster?
Maybe. Not if
I hope they
Paramount.
don't remake this one, because I'm sick of the remaking of classic movies. If they're remaking it, then I'm not watching it. Simple as that.
And it's remade by Paramount.
Yeah, remaking. Yeah, I'll hang on to the classics. All right, let's get down to work. AWS hit by Middle East outage, and they're doubling down on their investment in Spain. So let's get right down to work here. AWS confirmed that its unit suffered outages in the UAE and Bahrain after its UAE data center was struck by, quote, objects. 2 AWS availability zones in the UAE lost its power, which impacted, of course, localized cloud service and enterprise clients that couldn't get on. AWS said the recovery could take many hours, signaling the extended service disruption risk. The company, though, didn't confirm, Joey, whether the incident was directly tied to regional military strikes, but the timing aligns, of course, with the escalating tensions. Customers were rerouted to other AWS regions where possible, so they tried to mitigate some of the risks there. I also want to mention here that they're looking at investing more money in Spain. Big time money, Joey, to the tune of $21 billion or about 18 billion euros. This brings the total Amazon investment in Spain to 33.7 billion euros, positioning Spain as one of the biggest recipients of money from the European from the European AI and Cloud Hub. The investment is expected to support up to 30,000 jobs into 2035, and last year, AWS had already committed $15.7 billion to Spain's Aragon region through 2023, Joey, and that's going to probably support about 17,500 jobs locally. You think maybe if they invest this much money and they throw all these data centers their way, the European Union might give them a little bit of a break there?
No,
give them a little bit of a break.
There's no way to give them a shake.
They're not getting anything.
No, I don't think so.
No love.
Not so. I mean, to add to that, to your job stream, 6,700 of those are going to be full-time jobs. I mean, and that 39 billion, I should say, is already part of a 15 billion euro investment. So they're just going to essentially double that, and that marks 15 years of Amazon being in Spain, which I did not know. Very interesting stuff. So helping the build out, it's not just happening here in the Western world, it's going across the pond to Europe and Spain. As you can see that Amazon is continuously spending that money. But we're still down 20%, Cherif, off of those previous all-time highs, $259, now trading at 208. maybe not so bad here.
All right, let's go on to the next topic. NVIDIA, couple of headlines today. Let's talk about the inference chip. They're planning on unveiling a new processor designed to help OpenAI and other companies enterprise customers specifically, build more efficient AI tools. Here's what we're talking about. The chips that they're designing here is optimized for inference. We've talked about this with AI. Training and inference, those are the two kind of facets with AI. And training is a little bit dated. More people now, or more of these companies are looking at the inference capabilities of chips. And that was part of the beef, remember, between OpenAI and NVIDIA, where Altman, surreptitiously dropped this headline. He didn't admit to it in person, but it seemed to make its way out that he wasn't happy with NVIDIA's chips, specifically with inference, right? And then NVIDIA obviously countered or whatever, and they were both talking crap about each other, not directly. The platform, they're going to incorporate a chip design from the company that NVIDIA invested, I think, $20 billion into. That's Grok, G-R-O-Q, not G-R-O-K, not to do with Elon. It's not the LLM. GROQ. This company is supported by Chamath and some others, signaling, of course, collaboration and ecosystem expansion beyond NVIDIA's in-house silicon, which is really important because Grok focuses on application-specific integrated circuits. These are custom silicon designed for companies to run specific applications, mostly inference, and we've been talking about this particular type of chip eating into the gross margins that NVIDIA has, which are 70-some-odd% for their GPUs. NVIDIA is wise to this, and that's why we have this investment. We reported to you guys, I think, a couple of months ago. As I mentioned, inference is increasingly viewed as the next monetization wave for AI when we talk about chips specifically. That's one story. The other story here is Morgan Stanley removing Micron from its top analyst pick or top pick and putting NVIDIA. And the firm argues concerns about NVIDIA's growth durability are likely to evolve into 2027. Enthusiasm, so concern now. Next year is bull market, according to people at Morgan. They're saying NVIDIA is trading roughly at 18 times 2027 estimated earnings, which Morgan calls a surprisingly good entry point. That is their words, not mine. The bank maintains an overweight rating on NVIDIA with a $260 price target, which is obviously a nice premium from where it's currently trading at.
Yeah,
Joey.
absolutely. $260 would put it substantially higher. And I mentioned this from before, right after their earnings report. As long as NVDA remains the king of inference, then I think this name is going to continuously climb higher and higher. That's been the nature of this beast. We do run into some support levels, and now we're bouncing off of them once again. We also NVDA striking a deal with Lumentum and Coherent as well, a $2 billion deal for research and development purposes. So, I mean, strategically, we like what Jensen's doing. And I'm trying to get a percentage metric here.
NVIDIA today, bro, 3%, man.
Yeah, that'd be at 44%. If we go up to 260, that's 43% from where we're currently trading.
Maximize that daily if you can, Joey. Look at the range that this thing has been in.
Yeah, yeah. I have a hunch that we break through this support level, and then that's when we can climb.
So, eh?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but we would have broke out already, in my opinion, especially after that previous report, 93% growth. I think that we've come a little bit lower, maybe into the 160s, and then that's when we can head on that trajectory northeast.
All right, let's talk a little Tesla Cybertruck price adjustments. They were fleeting, to say. I'm talking about, of course, the discounts on the Cybertrucks, which were, I think, for 10 days. So we know Tesla has now raised the price of the dual motor all-wheel drive Cybertruck back up to $69,990 after dropping it for just a short special there, $59,990, which was a limited time promotion. The higher end trim does remain at $79,900. That's a premium all-wheel drive with the Cyber Beast, still $100,000, $99,990. Sorry, the prior discounted price coincided, of course, with softer sales, which suggested Tesla used incentives to stimulate the demand. No surprise there. Short-term implication is it's a margin positive move But watch out for the delivery numbers, which we don't get for the Cybertrucks, but we can make educated guesses. We had Randy on earlier. He was talking specifically about that, how you're able to gauge exactly how many they produce per quarter because they don't disclose those numbers directly. Separately, we got more European numbers for the EV maker. And finally, it's looking a little bit better. Tesla registrations rose 55% in France and 32% in Norway for February, which outpaced most of their competitors. Denmark, however, was still a sore spot, dropping 18%, showing that uneven regional momentum that Tesla's been on. Tesla's European sales, we know, got decimated last year, dropping 27%, partially from Elon's obviously political affiliations, but let's cut the crap. We know BYD's increasing 300% year over year in registrations there. So clearly a competitor with a great product and half the price. Just check out the BYD seal and all that comes with there. Market share in EU, Britain, and the EFTA was 0.8% in January, which was down 1% from the a year prior. Cheaper versions, though, Joey, of the Model Y and the Model 3 that were launched in Europe finally now are reaching customers. So could we possibly get a bit of a tailwind because they have the standard versions of the Y and the 3, which come, without the rear screen, et cetera, et cetera. You get those. One more thing just before I send it to you. We know Bezos-backed Slate Auto plans to unveil their kind of very small pickup EV, sub 20. I'll believe that when I see it, but according to the reports, it's going to be sub 20,000. If you know, you know. Ford also reaffirmed its EV strategy with a possible mid-sized EV scheduled for 2027, but it's not going to be pure EV. We know that this is going to be the one with the onboard gas engine to recharge the batteries. It's not going to power the powertrain. It's not going to move the powertrain. It's just going to, it's a range extender like we've seen with Li Auto and some others. So, just wanted to mention that. And Joey, we have a $2 super chat for you from Jim Carney.
What's up, Jim Carney?
Get it, Joey.
All right, Jim Carney. I won't be doing that, that's for sure, my friend. But aside from that, Cherif, heading back into the Chinese EV stepping into Europe, we know that when you first come into it, that's when you really have that kind of wave of exponential growth because you're just stepping into that market. We know that Tesla held the dominance for quite some time, right? So when you hold the majority of the market share, there's essentially only one way it can go, and then the other way it can go. But let's not beat around the bush that the fact that they're going to eat Tesla's lunch, in my opinion, right? Considering price-wise, it's not even close. As for SFD, Tesla just hit 8.4 billion full self-drive. To add to your Euro sales, up 112% year over year in Portugal. So that's not too bad, compared to 64% a couple months ago. So not too bad there with Tesla. I like what Randy was saying. I think he's like, if he's thinking about cutting production in the Cybertruck, I think he's going to start to do that for a lot of his models. You're going to get very little in the coming years, right? Considering if he's going to really focus on the Cybercab and on or the RoboCab, whatever you like to go, Cybercab and the robotics, then he's not going to really care about these low margin production vehicles.
I happen to agree. We kind of feel Tesla's evolving beyond a car company into an autonomous and robotics company. I don't think he can do it in one fell swoop because the market will not reward him for that. He'll be made to pay very aggressively.
You need to, listen, we're so forward-looking on this name. He hasn't even really sold any Optimus, right? Like it's not ready. I don't know if it's not being mass-produced or anything along those lines. Cybercab, he did make that first one not too long ago, but still, that's still not even on a mass production scale yet. No. So, I mean, how many years down the road are we talking? Probably another half a decade.
But I do like their ability to scale the Cybercab
because they have.
Number one, it's very very streamlined. Have you seen the inside and the outside?
There's nothing.
It's a small Model Y.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
nothing.
I think it's
no steering wheels, so much less. It's all software essentially.
Well, the ones that are coming out now technically still have steering wheels and pedals because the regulation. They force them. They force them to have.
But like
them on
I just said, 8.4 billion full self-drive miles. Waymo doesn't have anything close to that. So from he just needs more regulatory approval in order for this guy to really get rocking and rolling.
All right, guys, I want to bring your attention to a couple of things here. Silver is back above 80, and now silver is making the move here. It could see the volume weighted average price sooner rather than later, with just a little bit above $81. It cleared that $80 level. I think the regional high here, the local high, 840. 840, there's a seller here at 840 that the market can't shake. Coming back down into 80 now. Let's see if it can hold up at this 80 level, because 80 was clearly a resistance level here on SLV. Still down 5 3/4 separately. I want to bring your attention to a couple of other trades here. USAR is making a move here. It held the 20 exponential moving average on the 5 like a glove, and now it's putting in lower highs, and it's giving me that rounding pattern. $20.79 with a 21.05 high. This looks like it could hit back into 21 here. Be on the lookout. USAR making a move here. The materials names are all strong. USAR stronger than MP, up 10% on the day. MP up 7 3/4 separately. BATL is awfully strong. Whoever is in this in the chat, good on you, and good for having that conviction and following through. I forget the names of those who were interested. You had resistance at 10. You took that out. You had resistance at 10 1/4 or 10 1/3 because of VWAP. You took that out. And here we are on the way to 11 with an official high of day of $11.31. But we do have that $13, $12.99 to be exact. That is the pre-market high that we got into at 710. BATL up 94%, but still off the pre-market highs. Be on the lookout for that one, Joey. Just want to mention those.
Yeah,
Let's go back in now to the next topic. Talk about NCLH, Norwegian Cruise Lines. Where are they at? Are they down or are they up? They're down big, and they are SSR, down 9.2% after reporting earnings this morning. Let's go through that earnings report. Wall Street was expecting 26 pennies EPS on $2.3 billion in revenue. Here's what they did. So that's the Street's expectations. Now, where is theirs? Oh, I don't even see where theirs is. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Management previously guided 238. That's full year. Let's just go to the full year. 257 EPS, up from an expected 208 in 2025. Management previously guided $2.38. So a little bit higher there is what the full year, the analysts are looking for the full year. That's below the 257 expected by analysts. As we mentioned, shares are down 9%, and short sale restricted. A fuel sensitivity issue here, a 10% change in fuel prices impacts quarterly EPS by about a penny, and for the full year EPS, it'll impact it about 7 pennies. They've hedged, though, about 51% of their 2026 fuel consumption and about 27% of their 2027. The way they do that is they buy these futures contracts, which is what futures contracts were actually designed for initially. I think they were for farmers, for looking to hedge against, crop issues there, but it's been used for other purposes. Oil and macro headwinds. We know the escalating U.S.-Iran-Israel tensions are pushing oil prices higher, which is a direct cost headwinds for these cruise operators. Hedging does provide partial protection, but not fully. And they're going through a CEO transition, and now Elliott Investment, they're trying to get in there and cause some activism. So the new CEO, John Chitsey, former Subway CEO, he took charge recently following an abrupt leadership change. Activist investor, though, Elliott Investment Management, did disclose a 10% stake in February and is pushing for board changes and a strategic overhaul. Elliott is arguing that the proposed changes could drive shares more towards that $56 area. That's more than double the current levels. The stock has lagged its peers, though, Joey, especially, though it's been up 20% in the last month. It's outperforming Royal Caribbean and Carnival, which have been up 9% and 14%, respectively.
CCL been performing pretty good as of late.
Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, occupancy up 101% year over year. That's not too bad. Fuel costs obviously coming in as an issue, but I like this, that the CEO is just stating that he's looking to cut the bureaucracy, essentially, and getting more involved in the Caribbean. We need more of that in this, or I probably shouldn't say that, but anyways, aside from that, NCLH has been underperforming its peers. You're up 28% off of the bottoms, though.
You're off 28%. All right, let's go on to the next topic. EchoStar, SATS is the ticker. This one, where are we at? Let's find out. SATS. Oops. SATS. I just remember this one from when I used to live with my parents and they had that big, huge black satellite dish in the back. EchoStar was like all the satellites that we would change to because it would move from satellite to satellite, right? They were all EchoStar. It's up 5%. Not a bad look for them. Let's talk about this. They reported full year 2025 revenue total of being about $15 billion. That is down 5.2% year over year. They also posted an operating loss of $17.7 billion. That was really driven by one item, which was $17.6 billion in impairments. The net loss attributable to shareholders was about $14.5 billion. Their net interest income expense totaled $1.5 billion, but that was offset by a $4.4 billion income tax benefit. And their free cash flow for full year 2025 also negative, $1.74 billion, highlighting, of course, the ongoing liquidity pressure. We're going to pause the news segment for a second here. We got to go up to the big desk with Adara because she has a very special guest.
We're very excited to welcome Max Porterfield to the show today, President and CEO of Visionary Copper and Gold. How are you doing today? Thank you for being here with us.
I'm doing great. Excited to be here today.
Yeah, excited to have you. So let's just start by talking about the company. Again, Visionary Copper and Gold. What is your company's mission and what differentiates your company within the mining sector?
So we're focused on delineating and growing critical and precious metals-rich deposits in known Canadian mining jurisdictions here in Canada. So we've got a portfolio that spans across a number of different provinces here in Canada that are, again, encompasses both gold, copper, zinc, and silver. And our focus is, again, to drive those resource growth and to really discover and define the future mines for our communities here in Canada and to go abroad as well. Really, in the focusing around being in close proximity to these communities allows you to reduce your upfront capital costs to go into production to develop. Your exploration costs are actually much cheaper. You've got local workforce, and you also have access to water and power. And that all reduces your upfront capital costs and allows you to go into development much more quickly.
Let's talk specifically about this Point Leamington deposit. So can you explain to any investors or just our audience in general here why this is significant and what makes it unique from a geological standpoint?
Yeah, so Point Leamington is unique in that, again, it's situated in the province of Newfoundland. It's got access by road and trail access. The province of Newfoundland also benefits from cheap hydroelectric power and has an existing resource. What makes Point Leamington so unique is it's a pit-constrained resource, so it sits right at surface, so it's amenable to potentially an open pit operation, which has, again, much lower upfront capital costs as well as operating costs. And it already starts with a sizable resource. So within the existing resource that we've published in 2021, it has 500,000 ounces of gold, 8 million ounces of silver, 170 million pounds of copper, and over 700 million pounds of zinc. So we have a significant resource that we're looking to dramatically expand through future exploration that's ongoing right now, which is what I'm so excited about.
With that in mind here, with these explorations, what can you tell us about your recent drilling results? Because I know you reported wide intervals of copper and gold. There's this new zone called Kraken. So what do these discoveries mean for the future of your project?
Yeah, so our focus is growing the size of the resource. And when you do so, we've brought in a great new technical team that's got experience in VMS systems, brought in new technologies, and has been a big understanding or advancement in understanding of these deposits and how they're formed, and really where you need to look to add more. And Kraken is really the first start of that. That's the first hole in a new discovery. It all starts with one discovery, and then you start stepping out. That's the most exciting part about the exploration business, and that's where you have tremendous amount of value creation for your shareholders, as well as the company, of course, as we're driving that. And so that's what Kraken's all about. It's the first hole into a zone that sits near surface, adjacent to the existing resource. So it's completely new, and we're looking to immediately follow up to expand and define how big Kraken is and what that means to adding to the existing resource space.
Let's dive more into the resources in particular here. How might the drill results that you've had change the existing resource size or quality, and also what could this mean for both your shareholders and for future development within the company?
Well, the first hole into it was very wide and carried significant copper grades within that. And so when you're looking at growing a resource base, widths are very key because the wider the interval, the larger their endowment or potential metal content. And what we're looking to do is establish an aggressive step out to delineate and grow that resource base because ultimately what you do is you look to upgrade that resource base in the future, and then you look to then begin your economic studies and really define how you're going to go about mining it from an economic standpoint and from an operational standpoint in the future.
So let's end here, I guess, by talking about your next step specifically with Point Leamington. What are your plans for follow-up drilling, exploration, and moving towards a potential economic study or mining operation, as you kind of mentioned here?
Well, it's drill, baby, drill. I mean, that's what the business is all about, is drilling. It's the most exciting part of the business, and that's, again, where you get big value creation. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. It's the first step, and you just got to keep the drills going. So we're going to continue to step out drilling, and that's going to drive, again, what we're going to be doing in terms of defining the growth of Point Leamington as a Tier 1 asset located in a great jurisdiction of Newfoundland here in Canada.
Yeah, drill, baby, drill. Very timely call here. Thanks again to Max Porterfield, President and CEO of Visionary Copper and Gold, for being here with us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you very much, guys. Great interview, great information. Very, very interesting topic as well, man. Fracking is showing up in everything. Like, do you know geothermal? They're doing fracking and geothermal now, not just nat gas. Yeah, like the green energy. Everybody's been pounding the table on geothermal. But like, oh, there's already heat in the crust there. That's how they're getting to it, apparently. Super interesting stuff there, guys. Thank you for that interview. Let's go on, though, to the next topic. Yeah, just let me set up over here. Let's go on to the next topic. We were talking about EchoStar. We didn't finish that quite yet, so let's finish that one. Segment breakdown for EchoStar. Pay TV revenue. Everything is almost down here. $9.7 billion. That's down almost 10%, 9.2%. Wireless revenue, $3.8 billion in revenue. That's up 5.6%, but they're still losing money there. An operating loss of $495 million, and giving you an idea that the operating expenses there are still high. Broadband and satellite service revenue. You think that this one will be picking up. $1.5 billion in revenue, their smallest segment, and down 7.6%, and bleeding money there too. $1.6 billion operating loss, with their wireless ARPU average revenue per user up to $37.41 with a churn rate of 2.84. AT&T spectrum monetization strategy. So EchoStar reached agreements to transfer wireless customers to AT&T and transition to a hybrid MNO model, abandoning the unused 5G assets. The company will sell spectrum assets to AT&T and SpaceX, and they're expecting about $22 2/3 billion in cash for that, which is for the 3.45 gigahertz and the 600 megahertz license. That is still, though, subject to approval by the regulator. That includes the amended SpaceX terms, and the total consideration there, meaning money that they get, is about $20 billion, with up to $11 billion in SpaceX stock. With the transaction, but they could be a going concern, Joey. EchoStar ended full year 2025 with $3.16 billion in cash equivalents, including restricted cash and investments. Management expressed substantial doubt about its ability to continue as a going concern until the AT&T and SpaceX transactions, I should say. So very, very much here contingent upon this deal getting through, Joey. Otherwise, they could be in a trouble.
Yeah, but like, I don't know if this is the right chart or not, Cherif. They don't look like they're in very much trouble. Up 332%.
Yes, sir.
Since September.
People like the deal.
People like the deal. But I mean, from a subscriber standpoint, they're down 9,000 subscribers on the quarter, but up 90,000 year over year. Closed quarter with 77.5 million retail wireless subscribers, so that's not horrible. The pay TV segment compromised Dish TV and Sling TV, generating about $2.36 billion in revenue for the quarter, up 332%. That's not too bad whatsoever. The company also disclosed the quarter with $7 million paid TV subscribers, including 5 million Dish TV subscribers at 1.9 million Sling TV subscribers. I've never even heard of this stuff, to be honest.
Dish? You never heard of Dish Network?
No, I've never. Yeah. I know the
Direct TV and Dish Network.
Yeah, I know the Dish. I remember the Dish, but dude, that stuff was like already being phased out by the time. Like, it was more of the rural individuals using.
Well, I had one. I had one for a reason.
You know what I mean, though? It's just like, oh, okay, I know you.
And then when they dropped that, because everyone went to IPTV, right?
Yeah.
It's like, we can't crack their code anymore, right? We're just gonna put all the channels. channels on the internet,
That's
right?
crazy.
IPTV 8, their cake. Guys, USAR is making a move into the high. What's up, Fabian?
Oh man.
Okay, so I never used Sky. I used DirecTV and Dish Network. So is that what you're talking about? Yeah, okay. Those were the two that I had growing up. DirecTV was harder to crack. Who remembers, is there anybody in the chat that remembers H cards and HU cards? Does anybody, or am I just ancient? Hey? Yeah, so if anybody remembers that, throw up a 1. If you don't, throw up a 2. Yes, Hypercube remembers. Okay, so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
What is this?
So remember the receivers?
Yeah.
The receiver that go over the TV, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So you would put a card in there. It was like it looked like a credit card. It had like the chip that you have on the debit card, right?
Okay.
And then that chip there, Joey, was whether you got channels or not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what channel is he looking at?
You guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
I have no
Look at all the
idea,
ones
man.
coming in. You got all the channels, okay? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but I gotta understand this is like probably past, might be a little
You
bit
got the
past.
channels.
Yeah, you got the channels.
You got the
I know what
channels.
channels, brother. I know what channels. If you had Spike TV on there, you used to watch Spike TV?
Yeah, of course. And man, the good days though were when you got Pride pay-per-views because you couldn't get Pride. Back in the day,
Like
it was
the
all
fighting-
UFC.
yeah.
Because there were some heavy hitters. Rampage was there. Wanderlei was there before they all came to UFC.
Rampage.
A lot of the fights were there, brother. They were
Aside from Trader
freaking
TV,
amazing.
Aside from Trader TV, Rampage Jackson is the best follow on social media.
really, eh?
Yeah, yo, he's the best, man.
I gotta follow this. Okay, I didn't even know that. You're telling me about who to follow on social media. I like the change. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I love Rampage.
All right, let's get down to work here, guys. ZBAO is curling up, says Bovin. ZBAO. Check that one out, guys. Let's talk about Qualcomm unveiling a major global coalition at the MWC Barcelona conference aiming to accelerate development and commercialization of 6G starting in 2029. Dude, I'm getting fine. I'm getting fantastic speeds here on 5G. I don't see the need to go to 6G, but I understand the latency is a big issue here, and it's better on 6G. The initiative includes telecom operators, cloud hyperscalers, device makers, enterprise tech leaders included in this huge list of sectors: Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta, Samsung, Nokia, Cisco, Dell, HP, and multiple carriers. So to say there's a lot of people involved in the 6G initiative is an understatement. The group will follow a milestone-driven roadmap targeting early system validation and pre-commercial 6G devices, as well as networks in 2028. That is ahead, of course, of the commercial rollout. The strategic objective here is quite simple. Getting tired. Establish interoperable global 6G standards and build a unified ecosystem early. That's going to position Qualcomm at the core of the next wireless cycle. So what's 6G so good for here, Joey? 6G is being designed as an AI native system. It's going to integrate connectivity, wide area sensing, and high performance compute all into one intelligent architecture, if you believe the hype here. The key features are going to include what they're calling intelligent radios, AI-based network autonomy, cloud-based RAN. RAN stands for Radio Access Networks, as well as distributed edge-to-edge cloud centers, Joey. So I'm not going to go on because it gets highly technical, but are you kind of bullish on this whole 6G thing, or do you think they're coming out with a technology we don't really need?
I don't think we need that, especially if everything's heading into satellites and stuff, so I don't even know.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Does this make it like the technology we all don't need, because all of a sudden it's going to be 5G capable, 6G capable into satellites?
Exactly.
Man.
So I think that's why Qualcomm's kind of stuck within this range here. Just a technology we may not need, Cherif.
I wonder if 6G, the actual technology, can be deployed on the satellites in the same way that we can get 5G without any change in the phone's architecture right now with some of the satellites that I think Astis is putting out there, as well as SpaceX. Guys, fact check me if you guys know. This 6G technology, can this just be duplicated on these low Earth orbit satellites, or is this kind of terrestrial only? If you guys understand about this kind of stuff, tag me so we can have a discussion about it, but I don't know too much about it. Let's talk about Netflix, upgraded by JPMorgan. Organic growth, according to Morgan here, is back in focus. So they upgraded Netflix, Joey, from neutral to overweight, reinstating their coverage after a restriction period. I guess maybe they didn't want to cover it while it was going through the acquisition, or the failed acquisition, I should say. The firm raised its price target to $120 up to $124 up from the prior $120. Note, reset reflects refreshed modeling assumption. Analysts call Netflix a healthy organic growth story, and they're citing the durable subscriber trends and the pricing power. The upgrade highlights the improved visibility into revenue growth and margin expansion heading into 2026 now that the Warner Brothers deal is off the table. And here's what they're citing as revenue drivers. They like ads, they like the pricing, and they like their cost control. So JPM sees Netflix benefiting from continued advertising tier monetization, as well as incremental price increases and disciplined cost control. The firm projects about $2.8 billion in 2026 share repurchases to put money back into the shareholders' hand, and that's going to be aided in part by that Warner Brothers termination fee, which Paramount Skydance is going to pay for.
That's like $2 billion right there.
2.8.
Yeah.
If my memory serves me right. The subscription-based model remains relatively insulated compared to the ad-heavy peers, supporting that premium valuation multiple. They also say the buybacks in 2026 could provide, I should say, incremental EPS support and signal confidence in long-term cash generation. So I think you think this is the beginning of the turnaround for Netflix?
Absolutely, dude, absolutely. And remember I mentioned not too long ago, remember with Google, and we didn't take it into enough consideration, how much the antitrust was weighing on the stock? Boom, judge rules in their favor, look what happens to the name. All-time high, all-time high, all-time high. Yep. I think that's going to be the same narrative here. This bidding war was weighing on this stock that was fundamentally strong. Now they don't have those financial obligations and have to take care of that BS linear TV that would have came with Warner Brothers Discovery. Right? It's unfortunate that they miss out on the catalog. That's fine. But Netflix originals, I think they're going to be completely fine the way that they are, as long as they remain creative. They have great series. And I think if they continue to run with the Stranger Things, they can spin off of that. That's one of the most successful TV series. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think Paramount's going to mess up a lot of these shows coming out of, with Warner Brothers Discovery. I think Derek can agree with me on that front as well, too. I think they're going to
I'm scared.
I don't have
and I love HBO. I'm terrified. What will it do to my Crave?
Exactly. What's going to happen with the HBO Max series? That's what I think, in my opinion, are the best. The Game of Thrones. They obviously have Harry Potter. I think that Netflix would have done a much better job at the spin-offs from these specific things. That's why I like that they now don't have this. The Knights of Seven Kingdom. Yeah, it was all right. It was right. It took a while to get going. Not too bad. It's a spin-off. House of Dragons didn't do so well.
I heard about that. That's
House of Dragons wasn't Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, House of Dragons, in my opinion, it was good, but not as good. The Knights of the Seven Kingdom, a big rebound. But I think Netflix is going to be just fine with their catalog and the fact now they don't have this big financial obligation.
All right. Thank you very much, Matthew, for the $1.99 super chat. It's not followed with a comment, though. I do appreciate Racer X9. What I thought Netflix canceled the deal. Wouldn't they have to pay? No, the termination deal is going to be paid by Warner Brothers, but Warner Brothers already with another deal with Paramount, they said they would cover Warner's breakup fee with Netflix. So we'll have to see how that goes. I think there was a stipulation there that it had to be regulatory. I'm not sure. You guys are going to have to go and look at that. I'm keeping an eye here on TPET because it tried to break again into 105. Keeping an eye on that. BATL is continuing to make a move above that volume-weighted average price. It's finding resistance at 11 now, so BATL is back. USAR as well, trying to work back into $21. What a hold that was at the 20 AMA. Beautiful look, about 9 pennies away from the day high, up almost 11% now for USAR, so keep a lookout on that. Let's go to Palo Alto Networks. announced an expanded security ecosystem at the Mobile World Congress aimed at protecting next-gen 5G and Internet of Things infrastructure. The company unveiled collaborations with Nokia, T-Mobile, and others, broadening its telecom integration footprint. These partnerships enable telecom operators and enterprise to deploy secure 5G networks built to withstand the rising cyber threats that we see. The initiative does reinforce Pandub's strategy of embedding security directly into telecom and the infrastructure layers that come along with it, rather than acting as a side add-on. Not a bad look there. They are integrating next-gen firewalls and AI-powered security directly both into 4G and 5G infrastructure, and the collaboration with Nokia enables the deployment of the secure network solutions that combine telecom hardware with embedded cybersecurity controls. I'm not going to go over this whole thing. I wanted to mention here that Pandub is, I think, isolated from some of its competitors. There's a problem here. Pandub was kind of, let's just say, along with CrowdStrike, but it was ahead of CrowdStrike for best in class. When you're best in class, that means everybody's gunning for you. So my understanding is that this company has had to give more and more discounts to its certain clients to prevent them from going over to Zscaler, from going over to CrowdStrike, and that's eaten into margins, and that's why we're seeing some margin pressure here on some of the earnings calls, as well as the forward guide. That's number one. You need to be on the lookout for that if you're going to invest in this name. Number two, their platformization strategy, which basically, takes all these different type of cybersecurity angles and consolidates them into, yes, you guessed it, one platform, is not having the type of margin accretion that the company expected. In fact, some of the companies that they've acquired that they've been trying to, force into this platformization strategy has cost them a lot of money to integrate. So this is another problem and another margin compression headwind for the company. You need to be alive to that, or even if they're going to expand into new moats, their current moats are under pressure. That is a cause for concern. We're going to pause for a second. We're going to Adara.
Of commentary coming from JPMorgan CEO Jamie Dimon right now on CNBC. He's talking about a wide range of topics, talking about inflation, saying that if Iran conflict is not prolonged, there won't be a major inflationary hit, but implying what Janet Yellen said earlier, that if we do get a prolonged conflict, there could be some inflation concerns. He's also saying here that government debt is not in good shape right now, and that banks want to see a level playing field with crypto firms. Didn't really see much crypto move on that, but keep an eye on JPMorgan. Finally, he was asked about the Trump debanking lawsuit against JPMorgan, to which Jamie Dimon said, quote, "I am sympathetic. The case has no merit, but I agree with him. I'd be angry too. Why is the bank allowed to do that?" So interesting comments on this lawsuit from Jamie Dimon himself, CEO of JPM.
All right, TPET is coming into that area high, guys. I still have that breakout trade, which I have to cancel now because I'm going to be on the desk in a second. But it is coming into that 108 area, so be on the lookout there. If you guys are looking at taking TPET, it's working into that local area high. Here it is into 107. This could be the move here if we can get above that triple bottom that we put in at 1050 all the way, I want to say to 1105. TPET in focus here. Not a bad look. But Joey, give us your take here on Pandub as we run down the show.
Yeah, I thought considering what we had going on over the weekend, you would see a little bit stronger of a bounce in the cybersecurity names. That hasn't been the case whatsoever. Pandub is still down like 33% off of its previous highs. So I thought we'd see a bit more of a bounce in CrowdStrike, Zscaler, and Pandub, but definitely not the narrative on today's session.
All right.
They're all really getting banged up.
They're all getting clipped.
33, like Pandub and CrowdStrike are down the exact same thing.
All right, Adair, give us your take on Pandub.
I'll be brief because a lot of it has to do with this stock that I know Joe watches, and it's CrowdStrike. CRWV, I believe this is one of Joe's picks for the year. They report earnings tomorrow. They got an upgrade this morning. I think it's interesting here. We kind of start the week with a catalyst and a different cybersecurity name as we prepare for CrowdStrike earnings. For what it's worth, CrowdStrike responding quite well to this upgrade, which was predicated at least in part in the fact that the stock's been beat up so far this year. So let's see if this earnings report justifies the bloodshed, or maybe gives a little bit of a reason to buy. But in just over 24 hours from now, estimate 4:10 p.m., we're going to hear from CRWD and CEO George Kurtz.
Very exciting. We're going to see exactly what happens with these cybersecurity names, which, as we've both mentioned, have been beaten to the ground lately with SaaS-mageddon, cybersecurity-mageddon, whatever the hell you guys want to call it. Matthew, hello. Notices Shanghai spot silver is 99.92, and they have 13% import tax right now. 14% spread on arbitrage. Thoughts on institutions pushing price down to profit on arbitrage? Thanks. I'm not intelligent enough to make that assessment, nor do I trade metals to be able to kind of know that world, but that is something that I was alive to and knew there was a disconnect between the prices in China and the world as well, because they have kind of a very unique situation over there. Joey, do you want to comment a lot?
No, I can't really say.
That's not my world, I got to be honest with you. Maybe the big kahunas can look at that. But it's...
What are you doing?
All right, guys, it is now. We can wait another 10 seconds so we can get one in the bank.
Bro,
here,
these
Joe.
guys owe us a full session.
Hold on.
Point.
We gave them one this morning, right? And then Neil was very quick to point that out. He's like, we got to deduct that from the other one. Well, now we're going to be breaking.
Their deductions are crazy.
Their deductions.
They don't realize. Yeah, they don't realize that people don't forget. Remember that one time they went out with Mendel?
Yes, I do. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? It's like, man, like you guys at
Good
least,
vibe.
like I can
Katina man's getting lit up over there, bro.
The time they owe us, I can take the rest of the week off, essentially, at that point. You know what I mean?
That's a statement there. That's a statement. All right, guys. It's been a hell of a day today on these markets. A lot has recovered, as you could see, from the lows that we were seeing this morning. We're going to send you over to the big boys. They're going to be that way, and I'll see everybody momentarily for the afternoon rundown at the big desk.
Neil